Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Realtalk Bougie, guys. Sorry I had to keep you guys waiting for a minute. I had to, I needed to take a little break after the last live. I was just live on Love Lies and Lace Fronts, where we do reactions, reviews, and commentary on the YouTube channels you love to watch. If you did not get a chance to see it, go check it out. We actually, there was a sis in the mom community that basically had a story time that actually rings a little close to home in this sector because apparently sis is she's in Atlanta, and if you're familiar with this particular channel you already know she's in Atlanta. She and anyway, she told a story time yesterday, and clearly if you listen to the story time you know exactly who she's talking about. So we did do a little bit of a reaction to it this morning. We didn't watch all of the video, probably came in around the first 10 minutes and exited out. There probably was probably about 30, 40 minutes we did not get a chance to listen to or to react to. But if you want to go ahead and check that out, go check it out after you finish up here. But we do have a special guest. We have a guest from our community. One of the Bougie Gang sisses wanted to share some of her knowledge on some of this topic. So we have with us, let me see, we have our sis Adina. And let's go ahead and bring her up. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. And let's go ahead and let's welcome our sis. Hi, Adina. Adina, I'm going to just have to preface, I wasn't prepared to be live on cam today, so my bad. But we get to see your beautiful smile, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Do you want to tell people who you are in the chat? Because they might recognize Adina, but I think your name in the chat is different. And go ahead and hit your mic. You're still on mute.
Perfect. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate this because let me just tell you who I am. My name is Adina Johnson. I am a retired psychology professor. I retired back in August when all of this broke. And I'm also a marriage coach. You'll see me on in the chat under relationship coaches, Nick and Adina. Nick is my husband. We've been marriage coaches since 2003, so a little bit over 21 years, or a little bit over 20 years. And I'm also an author. My book, Butterfly Blue, is at Amazon. And I'm also a podcaster. My podcast, Black Butterfly, Black Pearls, is on Spotify. But let me just tell you, you are my newest favorite thing.
Really? Thank
Oh,
you. Thank you, thank you,
if I
thank
did
you.
if I did not have you, I probably would have went back in the classroom so I could look at this situation as a case study, which is why I called you and I was like, this is a case study. I need to talk.
What do you think? Okay, before we wait, tell us the name of your book again, because I'm going to pull it up on Amazon and drop the link.
It's Butterfly Blue, The Pain of Infertility and the Power of Forgiveness. And I published that in 2019. So actually, Amazon has an amazing sale. They keep putting me on sale, which should be $12.99, but someone told me last night it's like $7. And I think during Christmas time it was like $4. So you can get it on sale at Amazon.
Okay. It's showing for me 12.99, but if there is a better, I'm sure whenever people log in, if there's a better price, they can it'll show whatever the best price is at that moment. So I'll get a link to it and I'll drop it for everyone. So yeah, so you're enjoying this very much. So tell me, you're a relationship coach. So you definitely, so this whole situation resonated. I'm sure it resonates on many different levels. Talk to me. I find myself saying this a lot. Stop giving husband benefits to boyfriend. Stop giving boyfriend benefits to not even a good boyfriend or somebody that you're just seeing. Tell me from a relationship aspect before we deep dive into the psychology of some of these characters in this particular saga. What do you think about that? What do you think about Sonya, who not so much Sonya in general at this moment, but just the amount of wife benefits that she continues to want to give to Nesto and all of this extra. What do you think about men who get more than they deserve? There's
Sonya, in this
yeah.
situation, she is a lot. There's a lot going on with her. When I look at relationship, I look at Shirley Strawberry and him, because with Shirley Strawberry, she's a seasoned woman. And so a lot of this stuff that he does, she should have really seen that. I feel like even if you're not so rooted in religion as she is, the spirit of discernment, as a woman of a particular age, you can discern some of the games and some of the stuff that he does. Even when he was saying to her, you should have got to your husband. What you do next time, you talk to your husband. You find your husband. That is intimidation. And so, for a woman of a particular age who has everything going for herself, that is really a red flag. And on my podcast, I talk about red flags. I even go through the research of red flags and how to pick them up.
Okay. I mean, I think red flags, it's what do you think about people that don't understand or see red flags? What did they do to their instincts? Did they kill their instincts? Do they not trust their instincts? Have they deadened their instincts? Is it all of the above? Because I think that our instincts give us t- give us, like, if you're on the last hour, the young lady who told us the story time said that when the man let down the back seat, she noticed what he was doing, but she kept minding her business because
Mhm,
she was minding her business.
mhm,
Then something else happened, and she was like, oh, like, immediately her red flags, her instincts were like fight or flight, fight or flight. Like,
mhm.
her fight or flight instincts kicked in. But there are some people who will unfortunately lay down, and nothing against those folk, but some people don't see it coming. What happens to the red flags? Do some people not see red flags? Do they ignore red flags? Do they not know what a red you is? You know,
No, no. A
talk
lot
on
of
that for a
people
bit, please.
try to excuse things. I think as women and as individuals, we're beat down so much. You hear it all the time where somebody says, nobody's doing anything to you. What are you talking about? And they gaslight you. And so oftentimes we hear that so much till it gets to the place where we're like, oh, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. We second guess ourselves. How often is it that we second guess ourselves as women? So, yeah, it's important that we teach our daughters to look at those red flags, because the little things. I talked about it in my book. When my husband and I first got married, we've been married for 24 years. He would say to me, Adina, you're acting childish. And the way I acted about that, I freaked out, because I'm like, you're not going to tell me I'm acting childish, because first I'm acting childish, then I am childish, then it escalates. It just doesn't say at the same level. Now, he's not that type of person, but for me, I needed to nip it in the bud, because I had seen abuse in my practices. I had seen abuse, not in my personal relationships, but me being a psychology professor and me being a youth counselor from the age of 19 in the 90s, there was a lot that I saw. So I just looked at those situations, because I'm the type of person, I don't have to go through everything to know that's not where I want to be. That's not the thing I want to do. So I
But
think so often we do pull, we excuse things and we say, well, he's a sweet person. He does this, that, and the other. You have to look at what a person is showing you and telling you.
but go back to that scenario. So your husband, 24 years, said you were acting childish. Were you offended because it triggered, like, I'm not a child, I'm a grown woman, I'm this, that, and the third? Or was it he's low-key calling me immature? What was it about that you did not like, in the way that he was able to, what in his communication style, he was probably trying to alert you to maybe some immaturity or something, where really, like, it's time to step up into where we're at in this relationship? I'm not trying to excuse it because I don't know your
Mm.
husband at all, but I'm just wondering, what about that comment bothered you? And now in retrospect, was he right? You were taking it wrong? Like, can you tell us about that? Because since you
Mhm.
brought it up, I'm kind of curious as
Yeah.
to, was he actually right? Were you being childish at the moment, but you didn't see it that way and you interpreted it differently? Because sometimes communication styles don't mesh, and someone's saying something but you're hearing and feeling something else. That can
Mhm.
also skew your red flags too, right?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, you're right. He was saying I was acting childish. In the household that he grew up in, that was minor. Even when we have counseled other couples and I share that story with them, they're like, that was nothing, Adina. What are you talking about? Well, my thing is, you're not going to call me anything. You're not going to tell me I'm acting childish. You're not going to do any of that because that snowballs and I'm not going to go there. So, therefore, we're going to nip this in the bud in the beginning.
So you
No.
took it more as name calling versus he was giving you kind of like a, it was more so this is behavior. This is a behavior, like I didn't expect this from you. This is so okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
you were taking it more as behavior. He was giving it as behavior, you were taking it as name calling.
Yeah. Because the thing is, we can have a conversation. We can have discussions about anything that goes on. But what doesn't need to happen is any name calling. Because when you call me names, then I have to call you names. Then it doesn't help anything. Let's have a discussion about what is happening. And at the time, we were having an issue with in-laws. We never had discussions or disagreements about us. At the time, it was in-laws that were already being taken care of by me. And so when I'm like, oh, I want to take $2,000 out of our fresh household, we just bought a house. I want to take $2,000 out of our household. It was like, no, this is ridiculous. This is insane. You cannot operate like that anymore. So it was a bit of growing pains too, just being newlyweds, newly married. So
Okay.
yeah, I just feel like individuals need to nip all that stuff in the bud from the beginning, like I did. That way it doesn't snowball. It doesn't
But
escalate.
do you think in marriage, I'll be married 10 years in about 6 weeks. Yeah. Thank you. We're getting close. Well, actually it's I don't know, it's almost 8 weeks. So it's basically almost 2 months. We're 2 months away from 10 years. And one thing that I learned in marriage is that there is, and just relationships in general, there's a lot of give and take,
Hmm.
and sometimes you have to take one for the team. So, what do you think about I think so let's tie it into Shirley and Nesto. Um, how much taking for the team? How many hits for the team do you have to take
Yeah.
before it's like, hello, um, like this is getting one-sided, like for instance him getting arrested early on into their marriage. What red flag did she miss by taking one for the team? Because that was a definite red flag 6 months in, and look how the marriage is turning out, that it's just been a, like you said, snowball of criminal activity and criminal events, where 6 months in, Sir's getting arrested. He's disappeared for a period of time. Um, can you talk to that?
With the red flags that I think, if you just listen to Nasto, I don't call him Nesto, I call him Nasto. If you just listen to Nasto, you will hear, to me he sounds like Ike Turner. And for her, I think that was part of the upsetting thing for a lot of us women, were when we look at Shirley Strawberry, we look at someone that's accomplished, that has been on her job for a really long time, that is seasoned. So just the stuff that he says and how he talks like Ike Turner to me, where he go, all of that extra stuff. So
Mhm.
as a woman of a particular age, it's like, just listen to what he's saying. And then when you listen to him, his conversation is very street. It's not someone of her caliber, of her stature. So I really feel like there was a lot of red flags, even so much so as with the finances. But personally, before I got married, and I encourage other people to do this, before I got married, we pulled our credit reports. We walked around with the credit reports, the whole like stick a whole stack of papers. We had all three credit reports, and we looked at those things and sat down with a financial advisor to see where we were and where we needed to be. Those are the things I encourage women to do to protect themselves. She really should have protected herself, because this situation was an international embarrassment. I told you I was in Mexico, so it was international to me.
So even just from a due diligence standpoint of, maybe not even like, I don't want to say credit repair because everyone doesn't have bad credit, but just from a fiduciary due diligence, how much money do you owe? Do you have credit? Is your credit sound? Because someone might be in very good tip top shape. Just because you're running your man's credit report or you're handing him yours over doesn't mean that you are in the dredge of 300 credit. You might have a
Mhm.
nice 800.
Mhm.
You may have $50,000 of available credit. Your
Mhm.
credit usage might be at 30% and have multiple properties, and his is just that and then some. So
Mhm.
let's not all just assume, make those blanket assumptions, because I don't, you hear, if you listen to me, I don't make blanket assumptions on
Mhm.
us or really anyone. I don't just assume that Black people have bad credit because I
No,
don't have bad credit. And
absolutely
most of the
not.
people I know, I don't think they have it either. And if they do, that's their business because I'm not paying off your bills. But
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, absolutely, to kind of know at least what your credit load is, especially when you get to be a certain age. When
Mhm.
you're young and don't really have anything, I don't know that it's really necessary as much. But I think just from a checking the box purposes, absolutely. Just like you might want to see someone's insurance card if you let your baby
Mhm.
go ride around with them or that they have
Yeah.
a valid driver's license. Um, yeah, if you're going to go pull a marriage license and invite 100, 200 people to the biggest party you're ever going to throw, I would think that it's wise to do some background checking, even if it's just something simple, right?
Yeah.
Like meeting their family. Um, so,
Right.
okay, tell me. So, Adina reached out to me in the DMs and she said she really wanted to share some information and her thoughts around this story. So tell us what captivated you or has you like in your like just kind of like, oh my God, what's got it? Because there is a lot of behavior issues going on. There's lots of naughtiness, there's criminality, there is obsession, there is deviant behavior.
Mhm.
There's so many different things. So what has you like? What gets you? For what peaks at the top for you? Maybe give us a if you have a list.
I do. The thing that peaks at the top for me, and I have, I agree with you as far as the credit. You're absolutely right. When I just want to go back to that. When we pulled my credit, I realized I paid cash for everything. So I had no credit established. My husband on the
Mhm.
other half did. But that's why we sat down with a financial counselor because we didn't know. I didn't know what to look for. And we were in our 20s. But I wanted to set ourselves up for a good situation. What really sticks out with me when I look at Nasto and I see how he talks so nasty about Shirley, just the first time I could not go to sleep. When I first heard this story and I heard him on the phone and she said, they seized my truck. What? Wow. Who? Where were you? I told you I was at the hairdresser and the police blocked me in front of all my friends. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. So you got this woman in this international embarrassment. You have them seizing her truck, seizing her ring, the police calling her, her daughter and her grandkids are involved. And all you have to say is, I'm sorry that happened to you. That's what you say to somebody when they
Oh
woke up.
wow! How
Yeah,
did they know
what?
where your beauty salon was?
Right. That's what it was. And so when someone says, oh my, I woke up on the wrong side of the wrong side of the bed, my shoulder hurts. That's when you say, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. As if you have nothing to do with it, and you say it so dismissive and callous, and this woman is explaining something so serious to you and all you can say is what? Wow. Oh,
How
I'm
did
sorry
and
that happened
ask
to
her how
you.
did they know where your beauty? How about are you okay? Like, are wait, what happened? Okay, are you okay? So did they want to take you for quite it was no real I mean, we'll have to listen to that again. People have asked about that over and over. I guess they want us to react to it now again since we've so much has water has gone under the bridge.
I couldn't
Um,
sleep. I couldn't sleep. I really couldn't sleep. All I heard in my head was what? Wow. I'm
did
like,
I
who is
drop the
this
link
what
to
wow
okay.
that she married? All this what wow? That was that I couldn't sleep. I really couldn't. I'm telling you, I would have went back in the classroom had it not been for you because I needed to talk about this.
So, did I drop the link to this? I don't think I dropped the link to this StreamYard yet. So if anyone out there is trying to call in, we're gonna hold off all on the call-ins right now because we've got Adina as our special guest. So I'm not sure who's backstage. Miss Honey, if you can hold off, we're gonna try and take a few questions towards the tail end. I didn't know that I dropped the StreamYard link. My bad though, you guys. I didn't mean to do that. I know I dropped the Amazon, but my bad. I must have dropped it since sis called in. But give us a minute. We'll probably take some questions closer towards the end for Adina. Okay, so really, his aggressive nature is what kind of got your attention. Have you been watching for a while? Have you been? So you said you were watching kind of from the beginning when you
I no, well, I heard the phone calls from prison from the beginning. I found your channel like in December. This is when I
Oh,
found
okay.
your channel. And
Okay.
so 'cause I guess I had listened to a couple of phone calls, but I am so glad because I really didn't have you're the voice of reason. You're able to stop and chat about it. And that's what I really like about it. The other thing that really got me with him was them people, they in a one bedroom on an air mattress at 70 years old. And this is what you caused. So for him to talk about her like that, and it's like it just hurts me because I'm like, as a woman of your stature and your age, how did you get hooked up with this what wild clown? How did you do that? What
You
what what
know,
what did you miss?
I think with Shirley and Nesto, there's a gross lack of communication. Because see, what you just said, I'm getting ready to clarify it too, right? So I think that when Shirley said she's sleeping on an air mattress, the woman makes, I mean, we don't know how much she makes right now, but we know that
Right.
at one time, and I've got her chapter 13, man was making $400,000 a year. She's not permanently sleeping on an air mattress.
Yeah.
I just think she's in severe tax trouble. He left her with a lot of debt. She's probably a little cash poor.
Yeah.
And I don't think that for any stretch of the imagination that Shirley is still sleeping on an air mattress. I think she was on an air mattress for a period of time, but I think people just kind of like, oh, Shirley's not sleep. Shirley can sleep on an air mattress. It might have just been 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
Shirley is very. Shirley has a Shirley has a way about saying exactly answering the question. She doesn't expand. So
Yeah.
she's not kind of like, oh, yeah, my bed's coming next week or we're going to the storage. She answers exactly what you ask her. So she's sleeping on, yeah, I'm sleeping on an air mattress. So what?
Yeah. And
Well,
that
and she'll
explains
say
some
to
of
Nesto, but you didn't ask me that. You
right.
asked me this or that. So I answered, you know what I mean? Like she's very sensitive to him asking her a lot of questions
Yeah.
and she seems to answer exactly what you ask. So
Mhm.
I don't think that she's permanently on an air mattress. I
Right.
think she happened to like when I first got my first apartment, I slept on a futon. It took a month for my furniture to come.
Right.
So my parents were like, go buy a bed, go buy a cheap bed. I went to Walmart, I bought a cheap bed, and I was able to take it home in my car that night. I slept on it till my furniture came. It might have been 3 weeks.
Right.
Someone might have been like, you just moved for a job and you're sleeping on a futon? Like, how, like, no, I bought furniture. It's
Right.
coming in a month. I'm not sleeping on the floor, but I have a futon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just,
Yeah.
I just think it was temporary and it wasn't,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? She's literal. She's, yes, someone in the chat is saying she's very literal. She
Mhm.
doesn't expect, she just answers what you ask. That's it.
Yeah.
She's not going to give you any more. She's not going to give you any less. She's going to answer a question.
And that speaks to the limited communication between the both of them. Not to
Yeah.
mention, I feel like she's somewhere moisturizing and trying her best to look good, so she's not so concerned with what he has going on. But when you bring somebody, because we wouldn't be interested in any of this if her name wasn't tied to it.
No, because this what Nesto is going through, there's a million other people going through this exact same thing, varying different degrees all over the country. The reason why Law and Crime or Court TV is interesting because there's the one in a million who's going through the exact same thing that has a compelling story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Alex
Mhm.
Murdoch murders, man just murdered his accused of murdering his wife and his son. that's interesting.
Yeah.
Um, is it more interesting than someone else in Kansas? Well, they're a prominent family in South Carolina. That made it more interesting. They have generations of whatever. This story became interesting because it's Shirley, because it's Steve Harvey, because of those. So absolutely. But yeah, tell us some of the other compelling things that made you kind of like this story is just too juicy.
Well, and that and how she got connected with him. But then when I look at Sonya, she reminds me of a kid that just won't stop talking. You know how they're looking for
Mhm,
attention and they don't stop talking, they just keep talking, talking, talking. That's
mhm,
what she reminds me of. But also, she talks for a 55-year-old woman, she talks a lot about high school. So I
mhm,
feel like, and I can't diagnose anybody here, and that's why I say it's a case study, because in the classroom we would always look at these different things and my
mhm.
students would bring up what diagnosis they think.
It's okay. This is a commentary for entertainment purposes, entertainment and teaching. And these are people who have YouTube channels and videos that have been dropped about them. So we're just commenting on these videos.
Thank you.
Absolutely. They shouldn't
Thank
take it
you.
personally.
Thank you. So for that, for someone to always talk about high school at 55, that reminds me of somebody that has arrested cognitive development, someone
Mhm.
who, and you'll have certain rites of passages that you have to go through so you can get to the next stage. When we think of rites of passages, we think of someone graduating high school and then going off to college. Usually, when individuals stop their arrested development, when they stop developing, is you'll see a 45-year-old person still living in their mother's basement
Mhm.
in their family home because they didn't graduate from high school and go to the next level. So a lot of times that can stunt your cognitive growth. So I see that for her. I also see a bit of PTSD because oftentimes she talks about a lot of her body ailments. Because if you think about it, for you to have to go to the hospital, you almost die, you have to lose intestines, and it is still affecting you. Someone in a situation like that who has been through a trauma like that really should seek counseling. She should have
Mhm.
really gotten into intense therapy so she could have moved on. It's like she moved on, but she really hasn't, because you can still see the effects. So those are the three major things that I've seen with her as far as the chattiness and just really wanting a lot of attention. And she tries to get attention by her body. I mean, what 55-year-old woman that is, oh, I'm just laying around. You do that as a woman of a particular age, we're hustling, we're getting it, we're getting out there, we're cleaning our house, we're taking care of
55.
our
Yeah,
family.
55. It's like okay. She just seems to not have much going on. I
Mhm,
mean, I think having a chill day or a chill moment or I'm just hanging out, whatever. Okay, that's fine. But it just seems like she's low ambition. Let's say it like that because there's times to chill.
mhm,
But she does seem very low. Her ambitions. So let me take that back. She's not low ambitious. She doesn't suffer from lack of ambition, but she's not ambitious. I think she has ambitions, but she is not a go-getter. She might even be a little bit lazy. She will go for what interests her, but in terms of, and she's already said it, material things, according to her, are not her thing.
mhm.
But Nesto is her thing. So where she's not willing to work at finances or increasing her financial situation, so it seems, she is definitely deeply engaged in acquiring this man. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And for her, he's like, if you want me, just say you want me. Okay, I want you. What is there to want? No, you want Shirley's life because you thought she had something.
Mhm,
And that's the thing. She is like constantly taking calls from him. She is just constantly begging him, basically a pick me, begging him to be with her. And it's like, he's in jail for a really long time. These are some heinous crimes. And then when you listen to the crimes, it's like it I know y'all get on she gets on y'all nerves with, oh, it's civil, it's civil. It's not. You listen to the crimes, you're reading the documentation, you're reading the paperwork. You really should see what is going on. You should read the writing on the wall. And he treats everybody nasty. He talks about everybody nasty. In fact, his Dion is the one person that always has his back. And he was like, yeah, he's slow. He hid that for a long time. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, sir.
Mm, okay.
I'm sorry, girl.
So let me okay, so someone mentioned they have a question. Number 1, what I'm going to say is this. I'm not paying 100% attention to the chat. You guys talk to each other. I did just open up a Q&A box, so you guys, if you have questions, drop them in there. That way if I miss a question, I'll be able to catch up with it. So if you asked a question, do me a favor, copy and paste it into the Q&A. That way I have a running list of questions. um, and the person who mentioned that they had a question that was missed. Hold on, I just found it. Now I lost it again. They were asking something about Shirley seeming like she has untreated or undiagnosed abuse, from past relationships. Um, Let me see if I can find it. I just saw it on my other screen. Again, if you guys have any questions, I missed your question, I scrolled past your question, drop it in the Q&A box, and only questions. If you guys are chatting with each other, then just enjoy yourselves. But if it's something that you want me to try to ask, okay, I found it. Shirley seems to have untreated abuse either from previous marriages or childhood. Her fight or flight response is dull and non-existent.
Hmm.
Could that affect her ability to see red flags?
Yeah, it's possible. It's
Yeah.
absolutely possible. Whereas she could have, some trauma. But many times when you have children that have childhood trauma, they're quick on the red flags. They pick them up. So it could go either way. But yeah, oftentimes when individuals have been abused, they are like very highly sensitive. Think about when we listen to Tiffany Haddish, and I use a lot of these examples that we can see because I can't really go into some of the clinical stuff that I've done in the past. I'm retired now, though. From that, Lord knows I picked up more jobs. But you, like Tiffany Haddish said, she couldn't get into a bunk bed when she went to a facility. I think she said Scientology, and they wanted to put her in a bunk bed, and she freaked out. That's what can happen a lot of times. So it could go either way. It could be someone gets desensitized to it, or they're really hypersensitive to where a situation could be as far as abuse.
I mean, I believe people can deaden their instincts. That's kind of what we went in on. So we started talking about that. However, I think that Shirley is Shirley may be a little self-centered. I think, there's a lot of people who feel very kind of sensitive about any critique towards Shirley. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, I think Shirley might be a little self-centered,
Right.
and Shirley is maybe hyper focused on Shirley and what Shirley
Mhm.
has going on, because
Somewhere
Shirley
moisturizing.
seems to not be aware of things that are happening around her. And that could just be for lack of um, interest, and it could be, not my circus, not my monkeys. You know what I mean? She might just be like, that's not my problem. You didn't ask me to help. And I'm not going to, because going back to the fact that she's literal, if she doesn't feel that something is her problem, maybe she's just someone who feels like she's not nosy. I don't get involved in my husband's business. And she might just be complicit in turning a blind eye. It doesn't have to be as deep that she's desensitized to her instincts. Sith might just not care. Let's remember that.
And it
Sometimes
could be
people
that
don't
liquid
care.
Viagra. It could be that liquid Viagra they caught him with too.
Yeah, she might just be very much sexually um dependent on her man, and she enjoys him in that way, and she's not willing to rock the boat. She might our outside version of looking in. Adina, you answer this. Is she might just be happy. She might have thought no, don't gauge it on your version of happy, because I see you shaking your head. Her version, because keep in mind, so I'm with my daughter's father. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? She's not with her daughter's father.
Mhm.
She's made decisions about a relationship and co-signs a man speaking down on her own daughter.
Yeah.
So is it safe to say she might think I'll say it like that. she might think she's happy
Yeah.
because she's doing what she wants to do.
Yeah.
She's helping her daughter, she's paying her daughter's bills, and mommy gets a chance to live her life.
Yeah. No, I agree with that
She
as
might
far
not
as,
care.
yeah, I think you're right as far as she could be happy, but when I shake my head, I'm like, when you're constantly get evicted and there's no security there, and you make the amount of money she makes and she goes to work every day, it's hard to be happy if you're constantly not knowing if you're going to have a place to stay. If your man, I mean, that's so unstable. If your man is not, and maybe everybody doesn't like stability. It may be just some of
But
us.
some people are used to some people's sense of
Yeah,
normalcy
yeah,
is transient. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Just
yeah.
because her mom raised her daughter doesn't mean that Shirley wasn't raised in pillar to post. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
we don't know what the upbringing was. I've never read any of her books. I don't know if her mom had them living from pillar to post or not, just to be honest.
Right. You're
Every
absolutely
6
right.
months sleeping on couches. We don't know. So maybe a year or two in a place is okay, because how are you making almost $500,000 a year and you didn't have a financial manager, you
Yeah.
weren't paying your taxes, you weren't doing and you sat next to a man who said at one time he turned around, he owed $10 million to the government. That's one of his stories he likes to tell.
And you're
Steve
and you're
owed
being garnished. Your wages are being garnished.
Steve owed $10 million, and then Shirley's sitting there owing 500,000. You didn't ever say, "Hey Steve, who's your person? Who's helping you, cuz I need help too?" Like she never that never you never thought to, like, your friend is telling everybody he owed $10 million, he was bankrupt, he had nothing, but you're going through the exact same thing, cuz remember we are our circles. So Steve
Yeah.
went through it.
Yeah.
She's going through it.
Hmm.
Like we don't, you know what I mean? Like when she met Nesto, I think it was two people who maybe really it was toxic meet toxic.
Yeah.
Pretty toxic, and toxic people give her credit for being on a pedestal
Yeah.
versus toxic, just got out of prison.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was yeah, yeah. You need to get some. You need to pull his credit report. You need to pull his arrest history. It's like a lot of stuff she could have done. And then she said she was celibate or abstinent for 10 years. During that time, where are you fasting and praying? Are you really having a discussion with God? When I met my husband and we dated for 3 years, I was in my 20s. And right until the minute we got, because I fasted and prayed, I did all of that. We were abstinent for 18 months. And when I looked at him at the altar, I was like, are you sure you want to do this for life? Because a lifetime is a lifetime. I'm not playing games. I'm not getting a divorce. We're going to be together and we're going to do what it takes to be in a healthy marriage. And at the altar, I'm like, are you sure? Because we can run out of here. But trust me, when we run out of here, we're not together. If we run out of here, once we hit that threshold, it's over. We're broken up.
So tell me about your thoughts on Sonia, because I think that was kind of a little bit of um some of the kind of where the case study came in. You feel
Mhm.
like Sonia is, demonstrating some cognitive arrested development.
Mhm.
Um what
PTSD.
about Nesto? I mean, where's Nesto? Do you think Nesto is a fully functional adult, but he's low IQ, low potential
Mhm.
into, because everyone is not, we're not all everybody doesn't have the same.
Cognitive abilities. That's right.
Absolutely don't. You're right. So some people are at potential.
Yep.
Um
No, absolutely.
so
No, I
he
totally
seems to
agree.
be sometimes when he's talking to Sonia, he does seem like he's talking like a grown man. Like when he's like, Sonia, you really have to da 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 da. Like he does have some grown man abilities, even though I think he's definitely demonstrates a 50-year-old man. He's just a crook. He's a
Yeah.
ex-con.
He's definitely street.
I don't see him as being immature. Sometimes he has fits of immaturity when he's like, they're lying. When
Yeah.
he's when he gets accused of something, I think he has moments of immaturity, but I don't know that he's an immature man. He's a convicted felon.
Yeah.
Sonia, on the other hand, plays mature for the internet, but she's really very much caught up in wanting to stay. She's very obsessed with being young.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
No, you're absolutely right. And then it's like every time someone is saying that everyone else is lying, they're usually the one lying. Just like if someone is always
Mm.
looking to see if you're cheating. Are you cheating? Are you cheating on me? What are you doing? Are you cheating? That means a lot of times when it comes to guys, they're cheating. When it comes to women, if they're concerned with someone cheating, it's because they've usually been cheated on in the past. So they're paranoid. But when it's a guy and he's constantly saying, are you cheating? Are you going out? Are you doing X, Y, and Z? They're usually the one cheating. So that's what I see with him. He's always saying that everyone is lying. So that is a very much concern. He does seem very street. He seems like, and even when she was reading the documents to him, he was hanging on because he doesn't read that well. I'm not saying that he can't read, but it
Oh,
seems like,
I'm with you on that. He's functionally illiterate. I'll
yeah,
say
for
it.
sure. For sure. For sure.
I'm okay with that. I would like for him to try to prove me wrong. Like if he wanted to go lawsuit on that, sir,
Please.
read this book. Like let's like you're gonna have to prove to the court that I'm wrong in saying that you're functionally illiterate. Like at the end of the day, there's no threshold in that, and there's no reputation being tarnished by me saying you're functionally illiterate. Doesn't
Right.
mean he can't read, but he's limited in his capacity and
Yeah.
understanding. He can barely spell sight words.
Oh, yeah. That's why some of the checks and some of the other things he was trying to spell out people's names and Danielle or whoever. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm sorry. I have to go. I have a 1 o'clock. Are there any more questions? I have a 1 o'clock interview for my podcast.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Does anyone have any questions? Let me look in the Q&A box. Hold on one second.
Look, I'll be in the
I,
bushes. I'll be around. I'll be in the bushes.
okay. All right. So Adina is going to come back. And so Adina, if there are any questions for you, I will drop them into I'll drop them for you to come back and answer. Okay.
Perfect.
Because I'm trying to pull up the questions now and I'll do my best trying to answer, but we'll run them up for you so you can come back to the comment section and ask. Okay.
Listen,
Yeah,
thank you for
there's a
all you.
list of questions here. I'm gonna drop them. I will let me screenshot them now, and then I will drop them so you can come through and answer when you're finished.
Perfect.
Okay,
You're doing
awesome.
an amazing job. Thank
Oh,
you so
thank
much for
you.
opening your platform. And thank you for just being and you got me all time saying I got to go handle this mom business.
Momming is a business. It really is because it definitely requires structure, planning, forethought, management, meetings, all of that, checking in. Yeah, momming is a business. It really is. I do take it seriously.
Yeah.
And I love being a mother, but yeah, I do definitely feel like I'm handling wife business, mom business, my biz, all of it. Yes, absolutely.
And you're doing an amazing job. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
thank you, Adina. I appreciate it. Nice meeting you, and thank you for coming up and spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so I've got Alfred McQueen Jr. Can you hold for me just a second? I let my dogs out real quick. Oh, I just lost Alfred. I just had someone backstage. Okay. I guess I must have dropped the call in. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to try to answer some of these questions together. Is this Aqua Queen? Why ask to drop questions then? Well, Aqua, I needed to get to them, sis. I mean, you got to give me a minute. I'm one person. I'm getting to the questions. I don't know if that was you backstage, but you're welcome to call back in. But you guys got to give me some grace because I just First of all, let me just say this. I must have dropped the link inadvertently because really Adina was the guest. I ran the Q&A box and I've just pulled it up and I'm getting ready to get to all of the questions and sis only had 30 minutes. So, my bad, okay? Sis ain't perfect, okay? That's the true confession on this moment is sis ain't perfect, okay? We do have a lot of questions, so if you want me to get to them, I will, but I'm gonna have to ask you guys to give me just a second. All right, let's get to this one real quick. Absolutely, Robin. Yeah, I look, I understand that sometimes when things don't go people's way, people can get frustrated, so I don't get offended immediately. Um, but I do, but I don't. So we're good though. Um, but yeah, and I'm gonna tell you this. It was look, I had to flip on a dime today to kind of get everything because this was not the original plan. If you guys were looking earlier in your notifications, this was not what was going to be happening at 12 o'clock. But because I had flipped on a dime. Okay. Okay, guys, hold on for just a second. I'll be right back. Let me let the dogs in, and then I'm going to address every single question in the Q&A box. If there's a question not in the Q&A box, then drop it again and I'll get to it. And I will drop the call in, and you guys are welcome to ask whatever you like. Okay. Give me just a second. I think when I was dropping the link to Sis's Amazon book, I ended up dropping the call in, but that was my bad. Um, all right. Okay, just a second. Let me let the dogs in. I'll be right back. Just a brief intermission. Okay. Get your snacks. I'll be right back.
Walk it like I talk it. 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 Walk it like I talk it.
Okay, guys, I'm back. All right, let me highlight this one. Do you believe that Nesto has mother issues? Um, Glorious. Angela
Hey,
Broomfield. Hold on, Angela. We just got Glorious up. Glorious, how are you, sis? Happy
uh,
Thursday.
you too. Thank you. I'm doing great. So I probably took up most of your question, your
Okay,
question, your question room, but so I can go ahead and just ask mine because I'm just curious.
go ahead.
And one question is, what do you think that I asked? So you can scratch that off. What do you think the reason is for like this is a Sonia question for her to have all of these ideas, all of these well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to buy that, and I'm going to, first of all, I don't believe them, but I'm going to buy this and buy that, and nothing comes to fruition. What is that in a person that causes, I'm just curious about that. What do you think is in a person that causes them to first of all have all of these grandiose ideas and about what they are going to do or what's in works, and nothing, I mean nothing that you can see comes to fruition? That's the one question. And the other question that I
Mhm.
had that I'm gonna, and I'm gonna drop back down to. And the other question that I had is that, what do you think that? And this is a Shirley question. She says that her mother had to help her raise her daughter. Um, what would cause something like that? You're not a longshore shoresman that you have to go away for extended period of time out of the country or anything like that. What you're you're in radio, so I'm not understanding why there was a need to have a mother help you raise your child. Okay, it's not judgmental. I'm just curious about that. I'm just curious.
Okay, the first question. Okay, you're gonna have to remind me the first question again because I lost the first question. I was
uh,
thinking of.
about the failure to launch with putting in
Okay,
for,
Sonia, I think Sonia has ambition. She might be an ambitious person, but her ambitions are tunnel vision. And I think that she also tries to spend a lot of time impressing
yeah,
people that I think she needs to impress because she has low self-esteem. So she spends a lot of time kind of trying to demonstrate her worth by sounding smart, by sounding ambitious with business. Like she said, she met some guy from a dating site, but they mostly talked business the whole time. For what? You're on a date. Like, I
yeah,
think I think Sonia finds herself at a point in her life where she realizes that she has not accomplished what she needed to accomplish, or she's not satisfied with what she accomplished. So she likes to talk, but the talk and the walk don't match up. And that's just pretty much it. She's, she has not, maybe she was a high potential individual, but because she's lazy, because she maybe had her eyes on men, maybe she would easily be swayed by other competing priorities. Um, she just didn't get done what she needed to get done. That's just my opinion on that one. Now, regarding Shirley, and her mom, she needed help. Like, so for me, and so I have a husband and we're raising our daughter, right?
Hmm.
Did I use daycares? Of course. Did I use Aunt Doris and Aunt TT to help with daycare? I mean, I worked all day. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So she needed someone to help her. She's a single mother. I guess the father wasn't in the picture, and she needed her mother because she had a job that made her go out of town a lot.
but
So
she leaves the impression that this is what I gather from, and I could be wrong, but she leaves the impression, I've been there down that road too, but she leaves the impression that actually needed help in raising her. I mean, I think there's a difference between putting an emphasis on somebody helping you
I think
outside
she
of
was out
your.
of town a lot. The Steve Harvey show traveled a lot. So she was in LA, she's in Chicago, she's in New York, they're in Atlanta. Maybe she traveled more than a businesswoman. You know
And
what I
that puts
mean?
it in
Like,
perspective. That puts
and
it in
I'm
perspective.
not saying like just a businesswoman who goes to work downtown. I'm talking about, like, let's say you were an IBM consultant. Let's just say you were a VP at your company and you had to go from East Coast, West Coast down to Texas. You know what I mean? Like, you're a software engineer and then you've got to go visit your client in London, England. Like, there are
Right.
some people who travel a lot for business, and that's just their regular job. Monday through Thursday they're on a plane,
But
and a lot
that
of
does
us.
put it in
Mm,
perspective. That
yeah.
does. But
So I
I
think that
think
might be. Go ahead.
I think that the impression that, or at least I would say I got, the impression that I got, and I could be wrong, that's why I had the question, is that you were actually leaving your child to be raised with someone, and when I say extended periods of times, I mean, like, okay, they were there for 2 or 3 years, and then I took my child back, and that's what. But I could be
I
wrong.
think.
It could be
I
just like you
think
were saying.
she. Uh, this is my impression, which I don't know if this is the truth or not. I think it was, "I'll see you on Thursday," or "I'll
Okay.
be
Okay.
back in 2 weeks." Maybe her
Okay.
daughter was registered in school in her mom's city, and she would come get her daughter or come spend time with her daughter when she could. I mean, look, that happens.
It does. It does.
It happens. There's people who have to share custody. There's people that mess up and then the husband has custody, or they split custody. I don't think being raised by your grandmother, like Shirley's situation, however, why it's bad to me is what Shirley puts that value in. Like, as
Right.
far as, there's people who've had to have their moms help them raise their kid,
Hmm.
but don't see it as a negative. There's something there with
Yeah.
Shirley and her relationship with her mother, that she feels a lot of guilt leaving her child behind. And I think we've
Wow.
talked about this before.
Mhm.
Shirley and her mother did not have a good relationship. So why would you leave your child with someone who hates you? If I had a relative that hated me, that would be the last person who's going to be watching my kid. I
Right.
would rather pay for a live-in nanny if my coins were dictating that, rather than have my kid with someone who thinks I'm not shit. That's not going to happen.
Wow. Okay.
So if her and her mom had really a bad relationship, why Shirley chose to put her daughter with people that don't and love her the same way that she wants them to convey that to her kid, that was a mistake. That was very much a mistake. but I don't know.
Well,
But
thank you
she
for
says
the
it's because of
interesting
her job.
perspective. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for the additional
Absolutely.
perspective because I was in the background like wait a minute, this doesn't this is not mathing, but thank you for that. And now I'll come
I
of
mean,
it.
I could be wrong. That's just the way I'm kind of like, because I mean, I didn't travel a lot for work, but I did have a job where I did have to travel. There was a 3-year period where I did travel quarterly, and being away from home for a week at a time was very much of a strain to the
Yeah,
family because I we have a small family, and when my husband has to change his whole schedule to accommodate me being out of town for and then to pick up, drop off. He got a chance to see how the other half lived because he got to do my job, but he still had to do his job. You know what I'm saying? And I
right,
was off, you know, on a business trip. So
right.
it is hard. And I can't imagine being a family of two and then you have
And
to
doing
drop
that.
your kid off with someone else because you're going to be gone. You got to go here for a week, then you got to go
Yeah,
there for another week, and then you guys got to go be at a radio station because
yeah,
even though they're a syndicated show, they probably had to travel to for them to grow to the amount of stations before like a iHeartRadio came to be. They used to probably have to travel to lots of stations, do the meet and greets, go see the people
yeah.
in town, go see this host, go see that host, go do. So they were she was traveling a lot.
And
Like
events and things like that. And, yeah, you're right. And even like flight attendants, they're constantly on the on the go in different
gone.
places and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is a different perspective. I just think that my impression was something different. My
When
impression,
you're thinking radio, you're thinking your local radio down the
yeah,
street. These
yeah,
people are on 5,000 radio stations. Like they're
that
all over the world.
right, that and the emphasis and the stress emphasis on someone having to raise. And I guess I was doing more of a focus on that because I was getting the impression that it was like like I said, extended periods of times, like years or
And
something like
but it
that
might have
away.
it might have been. I don't think she
But yeah,
didn't see her kid. I just think that her mom was
right. Yeah,
co-parenting with her. Her mom was helping her. Absolutely.
right. Yeah, got it. I got it. Okay, thank you. I'm working too, so I'm
Thank
gonna
you, Glorious. You
drop
take
back
care,
down.
sis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.
All right. Okay. We have another caller. Is it Talia or Talia?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hey, how are you? Is it Talia or Talia?
It's Talia.
Talia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, welcome. Talia, do you want to help me answer a couple of questions or do you have something you want to answer? You want me to ask you want to ask your questions first?
Sure, we can answer some questions together.
Okay. Let's get through some of these questions because I don't want my hand slapped again. So I'm gonna get guys, I'm gonna get Talia to help me. We're gonna get Talia's point of view also. Okay, Talia, first question. Do you believe that Nesto has mother issues? What do you think about that? That comes
Okay,
from
this is
Felicia.
really good.
It comes from
I
Felicia
do.
Swan 95. So I just wanted to point that
So
out. That comes from Felicia Swan. Okay.
I do think, Fran, I do think he has mother issues, and I'm gonna point to one of the calls. I'm not sure
Mhm.
if it was one of the calls you have on your channel or from phone calls from prison. But do you remember when he was talking to, I believe it was Sonia, and he said, leaves no,
Ooh. There you go. I see you, sis. Go ahead.
it was when he was talking to Shirley, and he was like, it's like when the mom leaves the son for the boyfriend,
Oh
and
my
the son has to figure everything out. And I was like, are you projecting right now? Because that's what it's
It was
giving.
very
Like,
it was a creepy analogy. Um
yeah, it was a little bit too specific. Like, I can get if you're giving a general kind of, here's what I'm trying to say, but that was like, everybody doesn't go through that. So, what are you talking about, sir? Like,
well, he's
huh?
also very into that show Raising Canaan. He's
Mm.
very much fascinated by Sonya being like a sexy 50s mom. Niggas
Ooh.
gotta have a sexy ass mama like that coming into the visiting room. I'd have killed for that.
What? See,
Yeah, weird,
I
very
haven't heard
strange.
that, but I definitely
Mhm.
believe that, and I like, I've seen this before too, where there's like sometimes like just emotional incest between um parents and their like kids, and so
Isn't that
they'll
called the
involve
Oedipus
them in stuff.
complex? I think it's the
Yeah, and
Oedipal or Oedipus complex. I could be
yeah,
wrong.
I think what you're
Yeah.
saying, I think that is
Oedipus was
what it is.
in love with his mother.
Yeah, and like they, and but for emotional incest, you don't have to go. I think in Oedipus, like, was it like, did it get physical? I believe.
Let's see. A complex of emotions in a young child, typically around the age of 4, by an unconscious sexual desire for the parent of the opposite sex and wish to exclude the parent of the same sex. So it is weird. So where I think that Nesto comes in with Oedipus complex, number one, he is very so I think that when he like kind of so it's kind of a little bit Oedipus in reverse because I think that
Yeah.
he tries to omit Sheridan. Like he would love for Sheridan to be gone. I think that
Hmm.
he likes the fact that Sonia doesn't have kids. I think he wants these moms to himself. He's got a weird mom
Hmm.
situation. What was his situation with
For
his
sure.
mom? I don't know. Um but
I think he
maybe
told
mom
it
had a
though.
lot
I
of
think.
men. Maybe mom was a lady of the night.
Yeah.
We don't know. I don't know. Maybe mom had weird guy
And I think he
friends
said it.
and that was really mom was a mom was
I
that
when I
way.
say I think he said it, I'm saying it from a standpoint of I feel like he told on himself when he gave that kind of
Okay.
that weird description, because I feel like whatever people, when I kind of look at stuff, I guess from like a psychology standpoint, I guess, because that's what I like about these
Mhm.
calls. When I look at stuff, I think about it from whatever people say, or the conversations people have with themselves, like the relationship people have with themselves, is the relationship they're going to have with other people. So when he's telling, like, the fact that that's what he said, that's like you're describing things that you believe of yourself. So that's how I look at it. Is like there's no way that that's just how you feel about other people, and you don't feel that way about you.
He's a very strange man and I think like back to what we just listened to the sis who had the story time. She got
Mhm.
out of that car just in the nick of time because I think that he could be
Yeah.
violent. I think that people are looking at some of these crimes and thinking like, everyone doesn't always start out going for the gusto in crime, right? Sometimes
Right.
there's a very slow buildup.
Hmm.
Um, and they start doing things, and then something doesn't go their way, and they pick something up, and now somebody is gone. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They
Hmm.
hurt somebody because something doesn't go their way. Um, every criminal doesn't start out a murderer. You know what I mean? So
Right.
the
Yeah.
fact that the people of Fulton County think that he's dangerous is that's they're the professionals. So I'm going to just yield to them. They say he's dangerous.
Hmm.
So who am I to debate? I'm not going to even debate it. I believe them. I believe because I feel like they've seen
Yeah.
enough people. They know the data. There's
They've had enough
probably analysts
experiences.
that can think about it this way too. So all the things that he's done, right? Let's just say that there's a master computer somewhere where they can check off all the things that he's done and what he's gotten convicted of and what he's being accused of at this moment, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like
Hmm.
that movie, The Minority Report, that was able to kind of predict what people would do next.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe according to
you
the
go off of
data, he's
patterns.
dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you go off of just I mean, if you want to put it into an Excel sheet and try to, like, oh,
Mm,
well, what's going to be the next
Uh,
thing? I mean, if you just,
right.
common sense it and say, okay, so you got convicted for this, but you didn't go to jail off of a fluke. You got convicted for this again, but you didn't go to jail off of a fluke. Flukes don't last, but patterns do. And I just feel like, as far as
Exactly.
him, you're yeah, you're not the type of, I just wouldn't want anything to do with him in any kind of way. Like, his
He's
paperwork is
dangerous.
horrible. Yeah.
He's dangerous. It's just like in schools in general, period. They can tell first, second, third grade, and then you start taking these standardized tests. They know the
Hmm.
outcome. There are going
Hmm.
to be outliers in everything, right? There's going to be the genius that presents, right? There's
Right.
going to be someone who was high potential that just doesn't want to do. So
Right.
then you've got behavior that comes into play, right? But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, there's enough data that has been collected from school system to school system to school system. They know who's graduating. They know who's getting a bachelor's degree. They know who's going
Yeah.
to be successful. They know you know what I'm saying? They just know. If you
Hmm.
are on track by third grade, you more than likely will graduate from high school. But if you are behind the curve, first, second, third, fourth grade, it's possible you might not even graduate. I know that they don't like to share these type of numbers because sometimes
Yeah.
things become embed and they become self-fulfilling prophecies to people who are who are subject to a lot of suggestion and may
Hmm.
feel like, well, no one's going to believe me because they say I'm not going to do, because you know you
Yeah.
hear
It's
some people who have those
self-fulfilling.
dialogues. They're like, oh, they didn't believe in me anyway, and some people will do
Yeah.
it in spite, and some people will, you know, some people be successful regardless, and some
Hmm.
people will just accept it and they just clock out by 10th grade like nobody ever believed in me because I failed third
Anyway.
grade. But it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
So
Statistics,
yes,
certain statistics, I'm not going to say certain
the numbers
statistics you
don't
should look
lie.
at, but yes, numbers don't lie. I don't think patterns necessarily lie either, especially not a long set of patterns. Like this is
Hmm.
someone who has been in, like you've been in and out of jail, sir. What's
Yeah.
the harm in you going back? I feel like once you've done it and you haven't learned from it and then you do it again and then it's your fifth and sixth time and you're a repeat offender. I mean, you're a repeat offender. Like, can we be
Hmm.
real? I mean, there's not much to just keep trying to go off of, which is, I guess, that's my gripe with Sonia because as a woman, I think that it's really important. Just like the person you had earlier, Adina was saying, I think it's important to talk about certain things and set yourself up for success in a relationship because who you get with is really important. It's gonna determine a lot of things in your life. You know, it could push you forward or hold you back. And the fact that that's not something that
Absolutely.
Sonya is worried about is really puzzling to me because why aren't you worried about at 55 as a den mother in someone's like basement? Like, what is that about?
I think she thinks she's special. I think she has benefited from some privilege. I think she's benefited from pretty privilege. I think that she has benefited from light skin privilege, good hair privilege. She gives up the putty cat privilege. I think that she has been given some privileges based on certain things. And I think she believes in the privilege. She's not even aware of the privilege. I think she just feels like she's earned like a key or something to something, and she it's more so she's getting privilege but she's dealing with it more as an entitlement,
Mm.
and she feels like she's earned but she hasn't earned anything. Okay. That's how I see her. um Someone was asking, Kalisha asked, is Nesto a high school dropout? They say he's got a 12th grade education. That's what is said in on Fulton County, that he has a high school education. Um, I didn't see high school diploma. I saw high school education. So maybe that means
Mm.
he graduated. But he does. I don't believe he's finished any college. I don't know if that's Barber College, Tech College, so junior college. There was something saying that he met one of his wives in college. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. Um, I don't. If he was in college, it was to get a Pell Grant, and he bounced after. Like he didn't even make it through the first semester. Um, Let me see. There was someone who was calling backstage but hung up. If you want to call back, my bad. Just go ahead and call back. Someone called in like the last 5 minutes and then hung up. So let's answer a couple more questions. So Robin
Okay.
Harper said, so until someone else calls in, Talia's going to hang with me for a second. What are your thoughts on mental state of Nasto and Shirley? I think we might have just answered that.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on the mental state of Nesto and Shirley? What do you think about?
Uh, I definitely feel that Nesto is a manipulator through and through, even the way that he has conversations. Um, like when they were talking about Shirley and the whole situation with the truck or whatever it was, and first they were like, "Oh well, Shirley's the only one authorized to get the truck," and they were upset about that. And then they used that same logic to be upset. What was it that something it was that she even had? had that authorization to get it. And it's just the way that they manipulate everything to make it, to bend it to what they want. It's just, I just feel that the fact that he can't manipulate the system to what he wants this time, he's like spiraling out of control. Like, that is my interpretation of his mental state at this point. As far as Shirley, I don't know. To me, Shirley, and don't like shoot the messenger. I just feel like Shirley is like some version of an airhead, because you're either an airhead or you're complicit, and I just don't know, like, what I don't get how you can be anything else.
I agree with you on Shirley. I think she might be a little bit of both. I think she might an airhead just from the standpoint of Shirley's like I'm doing me. Shirley is grown. So Shirley's in her 60s and I think
Yeah.
Shirley is very much on some I'm doing me, even though she's married, and that might have been to her detriment in this marriage, because I'm doing me is not an attitude for marriage, ladies. I'm going to just say this because I am proud. I've been married almost 10 years now. Marriage is not
Woohoo.
what you can do in a marriage. Like, you can't do I'm doing me. Like, you might
Yeah.
have times where you can do me. Like, I'm home most of the day by myself, I can do me, but I can't do me to the fullest because this is the home that I share with my family. So everything I do, I have them in mind, right? Even if
Hmm.
I'm doing me, like going shopping or doing whatever, but it's hard to just do you when you are in a marriage and a family and all of those things. Shirley does, because she's not taking care of little kids anymore. She was in a position where she was kind of blaming her daughter for a lack of a relationship, even though it could have been because of her husband. But Shirley gives me very much, I'm doing me, and
And maybe that's what it
and that's
was.
it. And
Maybe
if
she wanted
Nesto's out
someone
here
that,
doing him,
yeah.
well then okay. You know what I mean? Like, I think she just was doing her. Nesto is very self-centered. So look at it this way. So now me saying that too, Nesto's self-centered, Shirley's self-centered.
Mm,
Sonia is self-centered. These are all very self-centered, ego-driven people, and they want what they want. So
yeah.
Nesto wants to have everything. Shirley wants to have what's hers, and Sonia is ambitious on another woman's, what another woman has, which might just be Shirley. I don't know. But yeah, that's my impression of all of them. They're very ego driven, self centered individuals who are all not ready for primetime relationships. They're just not. You can't
Yeah.
be self centered and be in a healthy
And
relationship.
I can kind of agree with you on that, because I feel that to a certain extent they are a good matchup, because like you said, Shirley has this toxic independence about her, and maybe that is what bled over into her relationship with her daughter, maybe. That's
Hmm.
just like, we don't know anything about that, but that's like
Well, and also
speculation.
because she didn't have her 100%, it kind of allowed her to be like weekend mom. Mocha
Right.
Wine and Big Ego. Oh, Big Ego just hung up. Mocha Wine, I got you next. Give me 2 minutes. I think her mom helping her the way she did allowed her to be kind of weekend fun mom rather
Hmm.
than full time. I'm sending you to the caregiver, even though the caregiver's grandma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
And
you
I
know how
think
like
that
they
kind of
say,
plays into it for sure.
yeah,
Like, what was the like for someone to be okay with your husband not being home? Like I've been married
girl.
for a few years, and I have had to drop off that super gonna be independent mindset, because it's just not sustainable in a marriage. And I don't understand how Shirley was able to keep up with it, outside of the fact that she's okay with having weekend, part-time, low maintenance relationships. Like, and it's like she got what she asked for. You wanted a man who
Exactly.
just like what did you want? Like some kind of drug dealer who just brought home the cash and like was gone in the streets all day? Like, I don't
Maybe.
that's what
Maybe.
that's how I feel about it. Like, she literally just wanted this part-time relationship that looked good for cameras. Like, it's interesting that she has such low standards for commitment, but
Absolutely. Well, Talia, you're awesome. Let me get Mocha Wine up here and Big Ego call back. Okay. Talia, you're awesome. Please call back next week or next time we do a call in.
Yeah,
Because I'd love to spend more time with you.
absolutely.
You're so much fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'll drop down in the chat and see you later.
Okay. Take care. Bye bye. Mocha, I see you. How are you? Mocha? Okay, Mocha's getting herself to get Mocha. I'm gonna
Hi,
put you on. Oh, here you go. I was about to put you on mute. Okay, Mocha, how are you?
hi, Francoise Bougie gang. How are you guys
Yes,
doing
how are
today?
you? Thank you. I don't hear my name enough. It's always mom, babe, Real
Fran,
Talk Bougie, Fran. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mocha. Thank
you're
you.
welcome. So while while uh oh God, and was it Ania the psychologist
Adina?
Adina was
Adina.
speaking?
Yeah.
I was in the chat like I feel like grabbing my cards. I need to grab my cards. I told you I read oracle cards. These are not tarot cards. These are angel therapy cards that I read. So I pulled three set of cards, right?
Okay, what did the card say?
The first one I pulled was for Ernesto, and
Hmm.
past life issues and parents came up.
Okay.
And so that speaks to what everybody is questioning about his parents. Um, I think Papa was a Rolling Stone is what I'm getting out of it. Papa was a hustler. Um, and he didn't get the love that he was seeking from his mother. And boys that have a bad relationship with their mothers grow up to be men that mistreat women. And he is demonstrating all of that in his behavior. Now, the second set of cards I pulled was for Sonia, and that was twin flame and law of attraction. We've been saying it for so long, birds of a feather flock together. They share the same criminalistic behavior, you know what I mean? And she's going to be and I remember Tuesday when I called in, I said I had pulled cards and I said that I see a Rico coming. I see the witness list growing, and the woman that Hazel that you spoke to, she's gaining courage just by speaking about this, right? And I never knew who this woman was. And for me to wake up to hear your commentary on her, I was like, she's the other person that's going to put the nail in the coffin. She needs to have courage to go to the authorities about her story, because this is going to be the nail in his coffin. That was horrible what she went through. And me being a victim of sexual assault resulting in a child, my firstborn is a result of rape. I can only imagine the fear that was going on inside of her just to get out of that situation. And unfortunately, I didn't get out of the situation. And then I was faced with, I'm pregnant. I also had a fiance at the time. The man that raped me was his best friend. And I had a choice. Like, I was told I couldn't have any kids. And so it was like a choice to have my child. But aside from all that, this one, the third card set of cards that I pulled was for Hazel. And it's release and shield yourself. She needs to speak up. She needs to get the protection and speak up. Because what he did to her could have happened to somebody else. And maybe her speaking up will allow other women to come forward. I remember the police got on the news and were saying if anybody else has had contact with this man or any business dealings with this man or anything, to speak up. Now is the time for her to speak up. Um, we've got this case coming up here, court date coming up here on the 5th. And I still feel strongly about this is going to turn into a RICO charge. I feel strongly about the witness list growing. She, to me, is going to be the one that is going to grow this
Or
list.
let's just say alleged victim list because we don't
Alleged.
have a witness list yet because we don't have the indictments.
You're right.
But yeah. And I'm not trying to be right, but people do come into the comments. And if I don't correct at least the what I think I know,
Hmm.
I want to just make sure I'm being responsible. So let's just say the alleged victim list.
Right.
Um, and I look. This is so regarding the sis and her story time. It's up to her. It's up
Yeah.
to her. I in no way, shape, or form am encouraging anyone to do anything. She may feel like time has gone and she's good and she put her story out. She did put her story out for a reason on the YouTube streets. What she does with it is her business. You know what I mean? Like I don't I'm not a victim support advocate. Um, so I don't know how to help someone other than she put her story out there. I feel like we tried to respectfully discuss it.
Hmm.
And if she goes to seek out help of Fulton County, I definitely support that. I think that would be helpful to a lot of people. But if she is not able to, for whatever reason, doesn't want to, it's okay. I'm sure
Right.
there's gonna be other people who he has, there's other people out here who have stories.
Right.
She's
I
not the
pray
only
for her.
one. You know what
I
I mean?
definitely,
She's not the only one.
yes, I definitely pray for her courage. In doing whatever's right for her in her life at this point where she's at.
Right.
Who wants to rehash that? There is a statute of limitation, of course, and all this said that she may be in a position where time is running out for her to do anything legally. Definitely glad that she came out of the woodworks and shared her story, because with just like you said, all this is allegedly. She never mentioned his name, but just everything she said is so synonymous to some of the things that Sonia has
Oh,
spoke
I mean,
to.
she was talking about him. I think she's protecting her assets, protecting
Right.
her. Yeah, I think she was, I mean, when she started talking about Steve Harvey and Shirley Strawberry, like who else would it have been at that point? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think
Exactly.
she wants to protect, and me too, because when you have people who have nothing to lose, who want to come for people who do have stuff to lose, obviously it's like it's allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. Sis has a very nice business, and I'm sure she doesn't want to turn it over to someone like that.
But what she said kind of like it was like ding 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 going back to
Absolutely. Absolutely.
grown woman vibes. She did a thing, a documentary about one girl that was supposed to be a driver for him. And I remember him taking this girl for a ride. You know what I mean? She was sitting in the passenger seat of his car and he was interviewing her in his car, driving her in the Bentley, having this
Yeah.
conversation with her.
I think that was
So
on his
it's
Instagram.
yes, it
It's on his
speaks to a
Instagram.
it
Mhm.
speaks to a pattern of behavior and how he conducted himself. You know what I mean?
He's
Even
not professional. He's a weirdo.
he is, and
He's
the words that he used was what you said. You were looking for the three G's that he said. I remember him saying, um, getting money, guns, and hustling were his, his mo. Like that's what he was about. And I don't know, just I really really wish that we could get more insight on his upbringing, on his parents, because there's something to be told with all of that
I
information.
think if we're patient, everything's gonna come out. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
everything always comes out. Someone's auntie, someone's cousin, someone knows the story. And it's just a matter of just, like, look, there's only but so much we can consume. Someone
Mhm.
might be out here told the story already. We don't even know. You know what I
So
mean? We don't even know.
I
Like,
have
we
a
just have to be
question.
patient and let those stories come out, and as soon as we're gonna be ready for it as soon as it comes out. It's out here and someone's gonna tell it. What his daughter might come out the bushes and drop all the tea. The one who he says is
Mhm.
crazy.
Mhm.
We don't
Mhm.
know.
I have a question because it kind of been on in the back of my mind, like, who is he talking about? Remember, he was having a conversation with Dre, and he was like, I need them to get in touch with this witness. She's getting watered down, or it's going to get watered down. Who do you think he was talking about?
I think this is when he was talking about how time is going by, witnesses become less reliable as time goes on, right? Because people's
Right.
memory fades.
Right.
What's important to me, like, let's just say you had a car accident and there were 3 eyewitnesses. You were only able to track down 1, and the video camera caught the other 2, and there's a license plate for one of them, right? They
Hmm.
track the person down. It's been 4 months now, and they're like, "Do you remember at Main Street and C Street, the accident?" And they're like, "No." And then they show them "Oh, yeah, you know what? I do remember that. Like, I was in a rush. I had to get back to work. I do recall that, but I never really, like, stopped to I was in a rush getting back to work, but I do remember that. I think the guy ran the light. And that might be all they have to like it's going to go from I don't remember to it might be from I don't know what you're talking about to I don't to remember to you know what, come to think about it, that was a day I was late and I feel like I heard a bang and I think someone ran the light and that's all I know, but that's enough to clear you and get you your $1 million settlement because something you broke your foot in 10 places. I don't know.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And there
Hmm.
might be the person that saw everything and they're just like, oh, I didn't see the light though.
Right.
But you know what I
Right.
mean? Everyone's not going to remember everything.
That's so true. That's so true. Again, just waiting with bated breath, like what is going to happen on the 5th? Like, I keep sitting here, like, trying to anticipate what's going to happen, but I think it's just going to be a big old bombshell that's just going to be dropped, and I'm
It's a
here
bail
for it.
hearing. It's a bail hearing. It's not
Okay.
trial. It's just a bail hearing. So I don't know if they're going to come with some new evidence. I don't want to set you guys up for disappointment. It's a bail hearing. So we're going to see what we've seen before. They're going to kind of run through the charges and they're going to just like, does he get bond? No bond. We're
But
not
isn't
in,
his but isn't his public defender working on some motions right now, according to Sonia?
the motion she filed was for him to have a reduction in bond for a
Okay.
revision of his bond.
Okay.
There's no indictments yet. So until there's an indictment, we can't really get started on the case because there's no
Yeah.
formal
Or
charges.
charges, right?
Yeah, so it's not I don't know if it's going to be the bombshell. If they have something that's like, look, we have um we have absolute like indictments are coming tomorrow. That would be the bombshell. To me, that would be the bombshell. Or, we're dropping charges or I don't know what the bombshell is going to end up being, but it's possible.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
possible you should could do the cards say anything about any kind of bombshell about the trial? Can you ask the oracle cards about the actual trial? Like, are we going to like what's you know,
Let me pull them out. Let me shuffle them.
that's the question we need to know. Okay, guys, you still have questions in the Q&A. While you're doing that, do you think Sonia could have histrionic personality disorder? That's a
I do.
question.
I do.
Um, our sis Mocha Wine says yes. For those of you who don't know what it is, a histrionic personality disorder, or commonly known as dramatic personality disorder, is a psychiatric disorder distinguished by a pattern of exaggerated emotionality and attention seeking behavior. A histrionic personality disorder is characterized within cluster B of personality disorders. Let me see what cluster B
In
looks
street
like.
terms,
Whoa.
she's always putting 10 on pump two.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's putting like 20 on 10. Okay, she's putting
She's putting 10 on two, 20 on 10.
okay, she's doing the most.
She's
How about
doing
that?
the most. And you know
She's
what?
doing the most.
People were asking in the
Love it.
comments. People were asking in the comments about all of these things that she says she's doing or have done. I said she's a procrastinative dreamer. She has all these ideas, but she is not looking to do the hard work
She's
to
lazy.
do that. She's admitted that she's lazy, and for somebody that has so much going on, every time he talks to her, oh, I'm laying down, or I'm in the house, or I'm doing that. Girl, get busy doing something. Do something.
Look, he's a
Do
bum. What do you expect? He's a bum. right? Birds of a feather flock together. He's a bum. That's why he's been in jail for 18 months. He's a what do they call him? A habitual offender. And he's
Mm-hmm.
been in jail for a year and a half because of shenanigans. You think he like a go-getter ass bougie gang card carrying all of the things would be associated with someone like him?
Nope.
Let's be real. He's with a lazy chick cuz he's a bum, right?
So the three
I'm just
cards I
saying.
pulled, the three cards I pulled, and um, your question again related to the case.
Mhm.
Um, there's integrity, cancel, clear, and delete, and be willing to forgive. And I I'm not getting I'm not getting anything from these cards. To be honest with you, when I pull them, I'm like, be willing to forgive. I don't know who that's related to. The cancel, clear, and delete. Use your positive words and thought as they're rapidly manifesting into form. Ask the angels to cancel the effects of past negative thinking. Hmm. Ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. Integrity, align your actions so that they match your values and inner knowingness of what's right for you. Hey, this man might be taking a deal.
Yeah, what you're saying to me, the word reckoning came to my mind.
He
I mean,
might be
he
taking a
might just
deal.
have to account, he might be getting an indictment
Yeah.
because cancel was it cancel, delete, and
Cancel,
forgiveness?
clear, and delete. Uh-huh.
Cancel, clear, and delete doesn't always mean he's gonna like, oh, they're gonna drop everything.
They're
It
not.
could mean he's canceled. It could mean, let's clear, it could be clearing the backlog of Fulton. It could be anything. We're interpreting, the cards are revealing themselves, and I mean, I guess you as the reader, you're going to interpret the energy, but to me, the when you were reading that, the first thing that came to mind to me was reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to answer for his charges. He's going to need to answer.
Mm-hmm. This is it. And you know, I think about first 48 hours how they have the person sitting in that little room, in that tiny little room with no windows, and breaking them down, have them ice cold till they got their arms tucked into their shirt. And then all of a sudden, what do? They snitch. They start talking. I think this 18 months or however long the man's going to be, 19 months locked up, by the time he goes to court again. I mean, I think he's at the point where he wants to do anything to get out. He wants to get out, and he's gonna. It's gonna be something spectacular to see what happens in this bond hearing. But I don't see him getting any reduction of bond, and even if he does, who in his circle is going to be willing to give him that type of money? Now, Dre comes to mind, and I think Dre has come to his senses because those CP charges are not aligned with his integrity. You know what I mean? The sexual assault, I mean, the SA charges are not either. And so for Dre to put money forward for him, he's got to believe in his heart and mind that he'll be cleared or be innocent of whatever charges are, because who's going to put up their damn house for this man? You know what I
And
mean?
and am I gonna get my money back?
Am
I
I
mean, he
going to
might not
get my
even have
money
to
back?
put up his house. Dre might have 50K in an account because he's
True.
he's a owner operator. I mean, he's driving 53-foot tractor trailers. If he's a owner operator, he might have that kind of cash. Because at any moment your truck can go down. So he
I was
might
just
he
going to
might
say
have,
that.
yeah,
I
he
was
he
just going to
might
say
have that
that.
type of money because he's running a whole business.
Yeah, my friend is the owner operator, and he was driving, and the truck broke down. And by the time he told me how much money he had to come off of just to get the car, just to get the truck towed and to get it worked on, it was like $35,000 for him.
Well, and some drivers, some of these people who have trucking companies, even if they're the owner operator, they may have a whole nother truck sitting and waiting. People alternate out their trucks. They take some for the long hauls, they take some for the locals. It just really kind of depends if if they've upgraded to a newer truck and have their old truck still sitting waiting to be fired up, because if you don't have a truck, you're not making money. So I'm just saying that from a standpoint of Dre might, if he's running a successful business, he's making decent money, he might have some money. But to the sis's point, so we went through this the other day. He has $103,000 of bond outside of the CP charges,
Hmm.
which, yes, to your point, were lowered from 8 to 700. On top of that, so he's still at roughly an $800,000 situation. And
Hmm.
he has 5 charges that have no bond at all. So I mean, he can't even get $100 for snacks. Where's he going?
You know what just hit me just now? The
What?
cancel, clear, and delete. That to me also speaks to what he said to Dre. He would dig his own grave, he'd be dead or free. That that
Okay.
that just came to me for some reason. Like, I know he's talking about unaliving himself. Sonya talks about that all the time, how she's always trying to keep him of sound mind, but she steadily is the one that's the bearer of bad news for him and triggering all of his anxiety while he's where he's at. But I don't know. Do we know if he's like in protective custody or if he's in general population?
He's in the honor dorm. He's with the older guys. He's
Okay.
either with people who've earned honor dorm, or I guess honor dorm goes based on age. I'm not sure. He said honor dorm. He's not in celebrity status. I don't know. I don't think so. He's
Hmm.
in the honor dorm. That's what he says.
Jackson Squad. She said, "Yep, that's what I was thinking." Um, are you in agreement with me on that cancel, clear, and delete? Yep. See, she said it too.
Mm. Well,
Yeah, that would be
that's
terrible, but. Mm.
yeah.
All
Well,
right, Fran, I will let you get to your
it was a
next caller.
pleasure. Thank
Of
you for
course.
bringing the cards today. We appreciate it.
Of
And
course.
okay, well we'll talk to you again next time, sis. Thank
All
you.
right. I go back to
Okay.
work tomorrow, so I'm going to be missing out on all of
No,
your midday.
pawn the
On
replay.
the replay for sure. I'm
Yes.
like, I work 11:30 to 8:30, and I'm like, I'm coming back replaying everything.
Period.
And I'm in
On
the car at
period.
lunchtime listening and trying to catch what I can catch. I'm telling you, this is my TV. I got cable. I work for a
Oh.
cable company, but I watch YouTube.
Oh, well, we love you, sis, and
I
good luck
love you
going back to
too.
work.
Take
Enjoy.
care. All right.
And we will talk to you again soon, okay?
All right. Take it easy, y'all.
Okay, you too. All right. Guys, all right, let me run through some of these questions. I know some of you guys are hot with me, and my bad, sis. Like I said, sis, there's only one me, y'all. If I could duplicate myself 10 times, y'all would be running me off of here. So just, okay. All right. All right. Let's get through some of these questions. Does Shirley give CPTSD to me? What are your thoughts? Okay. And that might have been for the psychologist who was here before, Sis Adina. I did take a snapshot of these and I will post them. Um, I'm going to post them to the community section, and I'm going to let Adina come back. Let me do another screenshot. Any of you guys who have submitted a question in the Q&A box, I will post these for our good sis Adina to come through and answer. Okay. I just screenshot them again. Okay. So just bear with me, but I'm going to run through too. Um, do you surely give CPTSD to me? What are your thoughts? Okay. CPTSD is complex PTSD, sometimes abbreviated as small c PTSD. Let me bubble up this chart for you guys. If you guys have never, let's see. I'm gonna share the screen with you guys because I'm not, I have I definitely have an interest in psychology. I'm sure as you guys can tell, but I'm not a professional. Um, okay. So PTSD versus um PTSD, intrusive thoughts, avoidance behavior, increased arousal. Gosh, I want, that hypersexuality of Sonia, negative self-view, difficulty in personal relationships, loss of belief system, emotional dis- dysregulation, trauma. Okay, so intrusive thoughts. These are the intrusive thoughts. This is the trauma, change in mood, depression, suicidal thoughts, pattern of destructive behavior, views the world in extremes. Look, let me tell you something. If we're going to really get into this, I think all of them have this behavior. View the world in extremes, quickly changes values of the world view, difficulty with impulse control, fear of abandonment, intense, inappropriate anger, chronic sense of emptiness and dissociation. Look, all of these people have all of this. I'm going to say all at, okay? All at Shirley, Nesto, and Sonia, okay? Um, I'm not a professional, so it doesn't matter if I diagnose someone because guess what? It doesn't mean anything. I'm I'm a whole HR professional and a YouTuber. That's it. And this is for educational and teaching purposes, and we're bringing some awareness. But yeah, at the end of the day, um, these diagnoses don't mean anything. But yeah, it's all at okay. Okay, next great question from Gossip, Rumor, and Inuit. And that was from our friend A-Dub. Aqua Queen, do you think Aqua Queen, that was the one. Do you think that Sonia has histrionic personality disorder? Um, all that. All of it. Yes. Look, there's so many there could be like a dominating and there could be like a sub situation going on. Twanya, I see you, sis. I don't think that is for Shirley, in my professional opinion. So okay, um Twanya, do you want to call is it Tawanya? I knew a Twanya who was a nurse. It was so funny the first time I saw your name, but I think she spelled it Twanya. So I know it's probably not the same person, but she was a registered nurse here in Charlotte. Um, but yeah, do you want to, I mean, if you want to call in, hit the link. But as I was getting ready to say, I think that they present with some things. I think all of us have a little bit of something, and we all show glimmers of certain things at certain times, right? Um, but you know, I do think that our we try. I think our brains work really hard to understand what's not understood, and things present themselves, and it's like it fits into the puzzle. It's Tanya. Okay, nice to meet you, Tanya. Oh, okay. I understand. So thank you for offering that wisdom. And I think that, we see a lot in all of these characters, right? We see a lot in all of them. And they're not just characters, they are people, but for this conversation, they're characters in a story that we're quite engaged in following. And I think that they bring a lot to the table. Does Sonia have low EQ, complex PTSD, or something more? In my opinion, that's from Gossip, Rumors, and Innuendo. I don't know what her I think Sonia may have been someone who could have been identified as high potential, but she didn't deliver. That's the worst. I mean, I would love some of our psychology, psychiatry, therapy professionals speak on just the failure component of people who are high potential but don't deliver. As Glorious said, failure to launch. Um, I think that that can be very depressing for some people. They know they've got it in them, but they're too lazy. They don't believe in themselves. They have a lack of ambition. They don't have all of the skills, and they have fear of failing, all of those things, and sometimes don't want to try. so you'll never be successful because you'd rather not do than be unsuccessful at doing something. So it could be a lot of different things. I think these people, I think the good thing about this whole thing is that it really opens the window for a lot of thinking people to think openly. For as much as some people might feel like put on and like, this isn't nice, you shouldn't talk about, this is some interesting stuff to get people thinking about what is really going on in this circle, and really does actually, it does develop some empathy, because sometimes people, when they can relate and understand, some people can give you a little bit more grace. But at the end of the day, Sonia to me is a willing participant. She's making choices as she's going along. And also when when Sonia got exposed a month or two ago, Sonia has not stop showing up for this party. There's nothing that anyone can tell me that Sonia feels put upon when Sonia not only got exposed, but then has shown up over and over and over again. Continue. Sis, if you want your camera to not show, hit on okay. Uh-oh, we lost a sis. Someone just came through. Come back. And if you want your camera to not show, click on start camera, even though it's going to really be stop camera. It'll be a red thing on there. Case study. Absolutely. We had a sis just call in, but maybe she'll call back. Okay, we still have more questions. Shay Prophet. Hopefully Shay is still here. Do you think the woman Ernest picks all have some type of trauma? That's why they are easy prey. Okay, you should be able to see this. I Do you think the women Ernest picks all have some type of trauma? That's why they are all easy prey. Don't we all have some type of trauma? Now, all of our trauma doesn't necessarily manifest in us picking bad partners or being um subject to crime and degrading situations. I'm a psychologist. You are right on, sis. Me, thank you, Dr. Charles. I appreciate that. There's a sis who's trying to connect and it keeps disconnecting. I do have a love for kind of thinking about things in more than one way. And I do think psychology is just fascinating. And I think from the beginning, these personalities are it's just too juicy. Like, these people are giving us a lot without giving us almost anything. But thank you, Dr. Charles. I appreciate that. Hopefully we can have you on one day, Dr. Charles. You got to come through. Um, Now we've lost about 2-3 people calling in, so you guys still have time to call in. I think Sonia always starved for attention, and maybe because Chuck had another family. Also, her mom was out there. Her mom had her sister with another man, then had Sonia. Sonia's sitting up there telling a complete stranger who's sitting in the jail all her sister's business. I agree. We all have some sort of trauma, but not to this. We do. We all have something. Something happened to all of us, whether it's just someone hurt your feelings, you were embarrassed. Um, one of my most embarrassing moments, I'll tell you guys, which to some people might not mean anything, but I was in school, I was in college, and I was new in this building. I was a sophomore. I was in a building I'd never been in before. It was like our first day of class, and I'd just gone into this building. I had to go to the bathroom really bad, and a couple of the buildings were very similar, but so I was on one floor, I went to another floor, and they had flip-flopped the bathrooms. So I ended up in the men's room, and I had to pee really, and I didn't even see the urinals. It was one of those when you walked in, there were the toilets. And of course, the urinals were over by the sinks. So I just like walked in, went to the toilet, and I was in there and I heard guys talking. And I was like, I was late for my first day of class because I was like crouching ever so, I was terrified. And it's almost a phobia of mine now. Like I literally, when I go into a public restroom, I stop and connect my eyeballs with the sign because that was such a bad experience for me. And I don't know, like it stays with me. I can talk about it now and it's not like a big deal. And it might sound like, oh, that was nothing. But I was actually kind of a little bit scared and I had to like wait and creep out because I was really terrified to walk out of the like I was like it was scary. Okay, if you want your camera on that's fine, but I just want to let you know before I bring you up, hit the it's right next to the mute. There's a button right there. Okay, you were good before. I'm going to put a covering on. That way you don't have to worry about it. Let me put a oh, I've just lost this. Y'all, I'm having the worst luck getting our guests up. Okay. Let me put a covering. That way the next person that calls in, sis, call back. Let me find something let me find something chatty. Okay. Just in case. Okay, so I just spilled my own tea. I was in the men's room and I didn't realize it until I heard the men talking. And it was so I was now like if I also have a phobia about escalators, but we're not going to talk about that either. But if I go to a public restroom, I literally stop, look at the sign, make sure, you know what I mean? It's not just you see the woman in the dress that I make sure it's the women's room. And I've been doing this like my whole life ever since. I've been doing this for 30 years now. That I have to double check that it's the woman's room I'm walking in. So, okay. That was and it was traumatic for me. It was traumatic. I missed my first day of class. It made me I was not on the right foot after that. Like that kind of messed me up a little bit, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, things happen to all of us. So even though I'm giving you kind of like a little bit of a funny story, it did have an effect on me. So, but you know, I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't feel sorry for me. Okay, let's do the next one. But does Ernest pick on women with trauma? It's possible because there are some women out here who have suffered sexual trauma. They've been lied to, relationship drama. They've been easy with their money. They've given out girlfriend wife benefits to men that are not worthy because they feel desperate or thirsty. Absolutely. Yeah. And he's damaged goods too. Keep in mind he's damaged goods, so he's got to go after damaged goods because just keep in mind, no real baddie, no woman worth her integrity, her salt, and her being, or like this late or our sis right here who just dropped me a tip with her cap and gown on is going to be with a bum knowingly. You know what I mean? If you're worth your salt, you're not knowingly going with a bum. There's going to be some sort of bum quality in you that makes you want to align with a bummish type dude. You know what I'm saying? Like when Nesto in the call today that you're going to hear, throwback, they were talking about going to court. And Sonia says, "Do you need to talk to your lawyer and have him request a haircut for you?" And he's like, because he was saying, "I look like a monster. I look like straight Charles Manson." And she was like, "Ooh." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you like that." Sonia likes Mr. Thuggish Ruggish. She likes a thug type dude. That's why she's attracted to Nesto. Um, on your replay, Nesto said he's raised on guns, gambling, and getting money. Would most people think run, run, run? Yeah, but Sonia likes Mr. Thuggish Ruggish. She likes a gangster type dude. You know what I mean? She's like, look, like I said about Shirley with the Carmela Soprano analogy. Um, if I just watched Goodfellas the other day. So do you remember in Goodfellas, gosh, what was his name? So the main character in Goodfellas had a wife, right? And why am I not thinking of his name? It wasn't Tommy. Was it Nick? It wasn't Nick. So not Joe Pesci, but Joe Pesci's friend and friends with Robert De Niro. So the main character in Goodfellas, right? He was married, right? and he had the girlfriend, and then he had another girlfriend, his girlfriend's friend, right? The one who used to mix up the product. Okay. So him and his wife, then he's got the girlfriend, and then he's got the girlfriend, and everybody in, and the wife didn't know about the girlfriends. I mean, she eventually did, but the woman who decided to get into relationship with him knowing he had a girlfriend. And then there's the other woman who is friends with the girlfriend, and she got into a relationship with him knowing he that her friend is the side piece, and she's like the side piece, right? So no, there's some women who like that type of stuff. They like a gangster. That's what they like. There's women out like that, might not be you. That's why you don't understand it. I don't understand it either, but at the end, I mean, I can see it. Like they just that's what they like. That's what they like. And some people will marry it too. Um Go with my other question. Shirley gives dismissive avoidance attachment. What's your thoughts? Wow. Dismissive avoidance attachment style. That's A dub. A dub must be a professional too. Dismissive avoidance attachment style. Was that in other words when I was saying I'm doing me? Hold on. Dismissive. I love this kind of conversation. Dismissive. Even though today I really did want to talk about something else, but I'm here for the psychology chat. Dismissive avoidance attachment style. Let's see. Let's read. Divis- Dismissive avoidant attachment style is a term for when someone tries to avoid emotional connection, attachment, and closeness to other people. A person with dismissive avoidant attachment usually doesn't pursue romantic relationships or may put themselves in positions where, and this is me freestyling on top of that, where you got a man, but you guys are very independent. You guys are doing your own thing, right? Um, let's see. They dismisses avoided tends to dismiss, block out connections, and with the relationship shut down quickly. They become triggered, has an inflated sense of self, and often judges others. Okay. Does not typically depend on others, often career driven, and values self reliance. We'll ask Dr. Charles. Dr. Charles, can you weigh in? Do you agree or disagree? Fearful avoidant is something that they're relating to this, values intimate relationships more than dismissive avoidant, experiences high anxiety in intimate relationships. That might be Sonia. Fear of rejection and has low self esteem, wants to be dependent on others. Um, and be vulnerable, but feels deeply fearful and distrustful. Fearful avoidant might be Sonia. Dismissive avoidant might be Shirley. And like I said, it's that old Madonna whore complex. I'm telling you guys, read up on Madonna whore, but I like that. The fearful avoidant versus dismissive avoidant. Dr. Charles, can you weigh in? What do you say? Maybe Dr. Charles can hear us. Let me see what you guys are saying. Dr. Charles, we have to find something about ourselves in the DSM-5, LOL. It's under genius. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Nosy. Our DSM-5 code is nosy AF. That's our code, okay? It's the chapter called Mind Your Business, right? That's why Nasto wants them to tell him so much. The more the women talk, the more he can manipulate, right? So he's not as dumb as we think he is. He's just uneducated, right? I think in a way we have to say too much smoke for Sonya. And I don't think we have way too much. I mean, she's part of the story. Lost most of the smoke should be for Shirley as far as I don't misunderstand, like, and I'm just saying this in a friendly way. Don't misunderstand us talking as like she's all that, because it's not. She's just part of the story. Like, to me, it's not that serious. You know what I mean? I had someone come in the comments the other day and say, "You're making Sonya famous." And I'm like, "I'm making Sonya famous and she has 1,300 subscribers." Nobody's checking for her. Nobody knows about her other than this circle of people. And trust me, it's not that serious. Nobody cares. It's just not. She's not even giving Hollywood Unlocked. Um, Simply worrying about people wearing a wire would have made me not want to work for you at all, because what the hell all you got going on that you worried about people being wired? That would be a red flag. But sis was very young. You know what I'm saying? Sis was young and had just had two babies, so I can only imagine. They pick people who fly solo. They tell you that they are the only person who understands you. Absolutely. Some people get off on BS. Absolutely. Some people just want to be needed by a weirdo. It's the gangsta life. It's exciting. There are, if you guys watch um Goodfellas, oh, Henry Hill. Yes, thank you, Henry Hill. Henry. Okay. So she's like, "Who do you think you are? Fanky Valley or something?" But she was mad because he stood her up and he was out on a date with another girl, right? And like she says in the movie, you guys watch this. This is very much, maybe it's dismissive a little bit. She knew something was wrong. She knew a guy his age shouldn't have had that much money, but they would walk through the back of the club. They would get special seats. They were special. Like, something about dating this guy made her feel special, and he made her feel special, and he was spending money on her, and she was recognized, and like in their community, in their bubble, she felt special. And who knows? That might be how Nesto made Shirley feel. In her bubble, she was special. Outside the bubble, he's not shit. Nobody even knows who he is. Um, yes, it's such a good movie. Glorious, thank you for my tips, sis. I appreciate that. Um, but why does she always state that she's going or doing or going to do with no results? Because Nesto's sitting in jail and he's not really. I think Nesto sees that she's not getting anything done, but she's a bum, sis. She's a bum that hasn't really accepted she's a bum. Okay? Can I say it like that? She's a bum who's not she doesn't accept it. She may know she's high potential, but she's non-performing. Does that um she has the ability but no follow through. She talks ambition, but she is not ambitious. Ambitious to the point where she puts action to the plans. You can plan all you want, but there's no actions. Okay? You can talk YouTube all you want, but you're not putting up videos. The videos that you're pulling up are videos that everybody else is, like, everyone's already doing what you're doing, sis, and you're not even doing it well. She goes live and all she can do is talk about the same stuff she's talked about 25 times, and wonders why we're doing analysis on what she's talking about, because it's the discrepancies, right? I was raised in the South Bronx, but never been about the bad boy life. I didn't want that kind of drama in my life. I knew exactly what would happen. Absolutely. Because you learned by seeing and hearing. You had wisdom. You were given the wisdom, and that was not what you wanted. And that's okay, because we are not our environments. A lot of us grow up in areas. Some people grow up in the suburbs or in a wealthy neighborhood, but still find themselves in the shits, right? Look at King Harris. Okay. Look at T.I.'s son. T.I.'s son is a mess. Okay. And T.I.'s like, "You're not standing on that business. You grew up in a gated community." Okay. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. But yeah, South Bronx, shouts out to the South Bronx. My dad worked at Lincoln Hospital for a very, very, very long time. So shouts out to over there in the Yankee Stadium area. Sonia is anxious. She's very anxious. They all have anxiety problems. You can Nesto's anxiety like reaches out and high fives us through the phone. Like his is ridiculous. KK says she still has her psychology book from college. Let me get through the rest of these questions because y'all getting ready to spank on me. Do you think the woman nest? Okay, I think we read that one already. What's the next one? The next one is to go with my other question. Shirley, okay, also gives dismissive avoidance. We read that one already. Okay, celebrity juicer. Um, does Miss Adina think Sonia is lying about being a paralegal? Sonia is not a I think Sonia has worked in a paralegal capacity, but she is not like a certified paralegal. She has no college. She doesn't have an associate's degree. And I think there are some stipulations for that type of license or certification. She doesn't have any, so she can't be. She probably has been used in the capacity of a legal secretary, but ma'am is not, she doesn't have the credentials. So I think, so to your point, is she lying? Absolutely. Has she worked in the capacity? Yes, but she's not licensed nor certified. So maybe to her she's not lying. She's just one of these people who says I've done everything but, and which still makes you not. Okay? I can sit up here and talk psychology and therapy all I want, but I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed medical doctor in psychiatry, nor a psychologist. Okay, I may just know a little bit that makes me sound dangerous, and it's really interest and hobby more so than anything at all. So, but Sonia seems like the type because she can talk a little bit of the talk, and we already know Pam has put her up in her place on many occasions. Pam knows the law, studied the law, has a JD and a license to go with it. So Pam speaks the law from a professional standpoint. Sonia is Miss Word of Mouth and on the job training. Okay. Just like we know a little bit of the law, right? Because the law is for all of us. We live up under the law, right? So the law is for all of us. But in terms of practicing it, applying it in a certain way, in a professional capacity, you have to be licensed, degreed, certified. There's certain levels to that legal game that you have different levels of education to meet. And Sonia has met high school diploma, which means she's not licensed nor certified in anything other than just running her mouth. So hopefully that answers that question. Yeah, I think she's certainly not giving us the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I love these questions. Deborah Hill comment, my pastor's wife said one time, if you go looking for something, you will find it. What are you doing? What are you going to do about it? Shirley didn't look because she wasn't going to do anything about it. Deborah Hill, I like that. Okay. Those are some wise words. It's so true. Now, it's not to say, I mean, period. What can you say to that? What can you say to that? What can you say? And that's very pragmatic, right? If you're not going to do anything about it, what's the point? Okay. That's just not like we can't even, like, okay. Wow. That's just and stop right there. She was the receptionist. She learned by osmosis, right? She just like it, she knows because it's like with our kids. Let me tell you something. Farrah was over there talking about some like, comment, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Farrah's not a YouTuber. I say some stuff sometimes. Wait, Farrah was over there in the car yesterday talking about reaction videos are about you, they are not for you. I was like, my God, what have I done? What have I done? Is this going to be is sis going to be on social media? Is this what I mean, she does get all A's. Let's not get it twisted. Ma'am was on full AB honor roll last quarter and will be again. But ma'am is learning. It's just like I have a very like my husband, he's into cars, he's into engines, all of those things. I was like, babe, I bet you it was something recently. He also has small engine cars too. Um, I mean, small engine cars, motorcycle, cars, his truck, everything, right? Um, one of his nephews was saying something. I said, "Remember that thing that used to break all the time?" I forgot what it was. I said, "I bet you it's that circle thing." I can't think of the name of it now, but I just said it like out the top. I was like, "I bet you it's such and such," and he was like, "No, no, that's I need to diagnose it. I'll take a look at it when he brings it over." Was was it not what I said it was? And it's not because I know anything about cars. I listen, I watch, I'm into what my husband's into, he's into what I'm into. I'm observant. And when you're in a relationship was like you watch each other, right? And when he was really, really more into his cars, like that was just a piece that broke all the time. So that was one of the things that like when he would fix and service his cars, it was just something that happened a lot, right? And I was like, I bet you it's such and such. That's what it sounds like to me. And I've diagnosed other stuff with my car, and I'm like, oh, this is happening, and da 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 da. Um, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's such and such because when he's talking to me about my vehicle or he's telling me what happened, it all does make sense, like the way engines are built and everything. But it's just, I don't know, like sometimes you can just pull, you can learn, right? So my point is, Sonia thinks she knows the law because she's worked in the legal field. She's worked in the legal she's worked in the legal field with professionals, and she might feel like she knows enough. But let me say this because I'm gonna say this because I'm not a lawyer. Sonia, just because you work with lawyers doesn't mean you've worked with good lawyers. Okay. She might work with a damn ambulance chaser because everything is damn civil. If I hear everything is damn civil one more time, she might be dealing with ambulance chasers who love a good lawsuit. Tamara, or is it Tamara? Is it Tamara or Tamara? Hi. Hey, sis. How are
Hi,
you?
hi, it's Tamara. I'm
Hi,
sorry. How are you?
Tamara. How are you? So let me ask you this question before you ask me a question. So it's civil, it's civil, it's civil, it's civil. Do you think that Sonia may just have worked for a bunch of ambulance chasing lawyers and that's why she thinks everything is a lawsuit? Like we've never talked about that. What do you think about that? Is that a good theory? Tamara? I think your microphone is okay. Hold on a second. Let me see. Oh, your mic is muted, sis. Your mic's muted. Okay, we're gonna give Tamara a second to get her mic on. Tamara, you got just hit the microphone button where it says mute. If you hit that, you should be good. Or I think I can take you off mute if you want me to. I can't unmute your mic. Shirley is capable of making emotional connections and closeness to other people. No signs of DAA there. Okay. And maybe it's just selective. Maybe, look, Shirley may just not want to engage with who she doesn't want to engage with. I think Shirley is the epitome if I'm doing me was a person. And I'm not mad at her for that. I feel like when I said the other day, like the Nesto curse needed to be broken, that's what it was. I think Nesto was kind of like having a chain around her neck and she freed herself from him. Tamara, if you call us back, sis, okay? But thank you for that, Dr. Charles. I appreciate that, sis. Girl, that civil word girl, civil, 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 okay? Maybe she's worked for some ambulance chasers. The lawyer she worked for was disbarred. Sarah, stop it. Are you serious? I didn't even know that. I did not even know that. So, yeah, hello. She worked for some sort. Do you know who the lawyer was? Because I'm sure there's something on the website that will tell us what the infractions or inappropriateness was. Are you serious, Sarah? Is that actual and factual? It's possible Shirley developed a way of dealing with or handling Nesto that appears maladaptive. I love that Bougie Gang has such an awesome vocabulary. Okay. These things do happen as a defense mechanism to cope. Thank you, Nikki. Yes. Smart chat. Okay. Girl, we're smart over here. Okay, smart. Yes. What is Sonia's end game? Sonia's end game is that she wants Nesto. Make no mistake. That's what she wants. Okay. Um, what is Sonia's end game? I wish I would be involved with this illiterate mushmouth sociopath. Well, or psychopath, excuse me. Um, let's see. That's an expensive hobby. My was into hot rods and building them and drag racing. Very, very expensive. It is, yeah. We don't have like drag racing cars. He's got small engine like RCs and he's into that. So he's got many RC cars and he's and such. I don't want to speak too much on his business, but yeah, lots of hobbies. And this is my hobby, you guys. YouTube turned into kind of like a hobby that turned into a job. Okay, let me get back. These are some excellent questions, you guys, and I can't wait to hear what Adina's take is on everything. Next question. Oh, so that was the pastor comment. That was an awesome comment, Deborah. Thank you for giving us that one. Ms. Mad about music. Sis, I see you in the chat. I see you right here. Um okay, Ms. Mad about music. Do you think Nesto is bipolar or has multiple personalities? I think he may be a little bipolar, but I think he is projecting, like he presents very anxious at times. When he hangs up and calls right back and he needs to clarify and he's obviously having like an anxiety attack or a manic episode. Absolutely. Multiple personalities, schizophrenic, no. I think that he may, and I've heard, a couple other people have said this in the chat. I think that he has a high blood pressure situation. I don't know if he's had a mini stroke. I don't know what's going on with him, but Sir has slurred speech sometimes. He could be drinking that jailhouse wine. I don't know what his problem is, but I don't think he's cray like that. I don't think he is schizophrenic, multiple personalities. I don't think that's it, but I do believe Tamara. I see you, boo boo. I do think that he has not severe anxiety, but I think he suffers from anxiety that needs to be medicated. Hi, Tamara.
Hi.
How are you, sis? How are
I'm
you?
doing well. How are you?
Good, good. What's going on?
Oh, nothing, girl. I'm just listening in. I'm sorry. I've been listening to your videos and I just decided to hop in. This is my
Yes.
very first time.
Okay. Do you think Nesto is bipolar or multiple or has multiple personalities? What do you think about that
Definitely
question?
multiple personalities. I
You
do.
do? What?
I absolutely do. I do.
You don't think it's just
Just
mood
because
swings? You think it's multiple, like he's certified, like you think he's schizophrenic? I
I
don't
really
think
do.
so.
Well, no,
Do
I wouldn't say
really?
he's schizophrenic. No, no, no. I wouldn't give him that. But I do feel like he's a hustler, and I think he uses everyone to his advantage. Um, because just listening to the calls, he's different with every single person. With Shirley, with Sonya, with his
So
with
he's
his
a
brother, with
code
Dylan.
switcher. We call
I
that
do,
code switching on the streets
yeah, for sure.
or
But I
in
do think he
business.
does
In
have some.
corporate America, black people, we love to say code switch because you can't
Mhm.
give everybody everything. That's what I call
Right,
it. I call it keeping your job. But okay.
right. But I do think he has some kind of you know what? I don't know if I would give him a mental illness. I just think he's a hustler for sure, and he's very.
Mm.
I really don't know because I think there's something going on with him. I think there's some. I just don't know what to give him, honestly.
He's quite interesting. I would really so code switching I felt like used to be a like slang, but it is relate. So there's a definition. Code switching is a way in which a member of an underrepresented group consciously or unconsciously adjusts their language, syntax, grammatical structure, behavior, and or appearance to fit into a dominant culture. Now, maybe let's even just say into forget about like dominant culture, but let's just say as it, adapting for certain people that you're dealing with. I do think he very much code switches because when he's like, "Yes, ma'am, I love you very much. Okay, Shirley, I really appreciate you, and God be the glory." And da, 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 da. And when he's talking to Sonya, it's motherfucker this and that motherfucker and that this nigga da, 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 da. And he's all, you know what I mean? He knows how to adjust for who he's talking to. What a player, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I do think it might be a little bit of code switching. But yeah, I don't know for sure. I would love to hear our professionals out there give us like the real deal. But tell me what you called in to tell us. What did you want to talk about today? What has you interested in this story and what got you calling in today? You're on mute. Tamara, you're on mute. Okay, we're gonna give Tamara a minute. She's on mute. You guys say he's just a functional buffoon. Gloria, stop it. I don't think Nesto can code switch. You just think he just is. He's not that smart to code switch. No. It's not deliberate. You think it's more of a reflex, his code switching. Um, Sonia, hey Vicky, hey Boo Boo. Sonia is one of those women who is just proud to say she grabs someone else's man, and then once she gets them, she cools off. She seems like she enjoys the chase rather than enjoying the movement, the moment. Absolutely. So it's the chase for her. And once the chase is over, she loses interest. Very astute observation. I do agree with you on that. That is I think so. Cause it's like, what you gonna do with me? Like Sonia, let's close your eyes for a second and just imagine. Okay. Hey Tamara.
Hey, I'm sorry,
Hey.
I'm working. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine, sis. I was just gonna say this real quick. So Sonia, if you're out there, just close your eyes for a second and just imagine Nesto gets out of jail and he's coming with his brown paper bag to your house. Go. You know what I mean? Like it's no more romantic phone calls anymore. It's he's peeing and leaving the seat up and he needs money and then he didn't come home for 24 hours. Just imagine that's going to be your life when he comes to the house. Okay,
You know,
Tamara.
I think
Mhm.
with that, I think Sonya and Estelle are both using each other right now. I don't think
Mm.
she really wants him. I think she likes the attention. And I think she likes the idea of just having some sort of proximity to Shirley and possibly Steve. But if he gets out, I don't think she would want him because
Do
he
you
has. I think,
imagine?
yeah, no, I think she wants because he can't do anything for her once he's out either. I think they're just about there using each other right now. I don't think she
He
really
can't
wants
go
him.
get a job. What job is he
Right.
going to get? He said he's not trying to be a Walmart greeter and Walmart won't hire him anyway cuz he that back look, I worked for Walmart corporate. He cannot that felony that he has on there,
Background check.
armed
Hmm.
robbery and all that mess, he won't be hired. He
Right.
won't be
And
hired.
he's
And if you
surprised
know
when they even
someone
let
who's
him
been
do that
hired,
anyway.
it's because they lied on their application, but when it came out,
Hmm.
they were immediately terminated. They will
Exactly.
not hire an armed robber. They just won't. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It just it won't happen.
Yeah. But I think Sonya is. I think she is loving the attention. I think she's loving the interviews. Um, I mean, she just loves to look stupid.
I'm going to be honest with you. I when Dre is sitting there, let me pivot to Dre for a second because we haven't talked about Dre enough today. So Dre, if you're in the bushes, what's up, sir? Um, Dre, and this is look, Dre wanting to come out and do an interview, I find peculiar when you're complaining about bloggers and your privacy. I'm just going to stop right there. If he goes to Sylvia's channel, I think that's just fine. I really care. I don't care about like um Dre enough as a character. I like Dre. I think Dre is a fun character. I think that him coming to the YouTube streets would be interesting. but I want to know why. Like, why? What does he need to interview for? Is he going to tell us anything about Nesto? Is he going to tell us anything about the case? Is he coming to introduce us to himself? Like, I think, like, I don't know that he needs, like, I don't need to hear anything from Dre other than the calls for me. But now, would I go and sit and listen to the interview? Absolutely. Would I have some questions? Absolutely. But I would be more interested in a Shirley interview. I'm going to be quite honest. Like, I don't like Dre. What does Dre have to offer other than he's talked to Nesto like 10 plus times in the past 2 years? Nesto's asked him for money. I guess what were you thinking when Nesto asked you for $10,000? That's what I would like to know. But I just, what would he be taking interviews for? What's the point?
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I don't know. There's really no end game for him. I mean, I don't understand the purpose.
The end game for
He's
him is
not
just to
clear.
be a friend. Like,
Right.
I don't understand why he would like when he so Sonia showed a text from Nesto on her live saying something about Dre doing an interview or something. For what? Like, what do you want Dre to tell the world for you? Like, if he said, I gave Dre a message and I want Dre to communicate my message, okay. But what is
Could
uh
that be it? Do you think he may
maybe
be
you
relaying some information from him? But Sonya could do that though, right? If
she
that were the
clearly
case.
she can't. She was on Tasha K. Tasha K has a very broad reach.
Hmm.
Why
Hmm.
why she sat on Tasha K's panel? How
Right.
can you
And I.
not? And then she was on Sylvia's for 2 hours. And she continues to talk to us about being shot in her small intestine.
Hmm.
Like, what
And
can
I'm
you talk
wondering.
about what's really going on?
Yeah, I wonder if his attorney. Why are they not advising her to stop? Because she's not hurt. She's not helping at all. So I'm not sure. I mean, if they would even. You know, why she's still doing interviews. I mean, because she's
I don't
making
know.
all
I don't
these
know if she's
changes
doing
and
any more
deciding.
interviews. I know that the interview, I think Dre made a good decision to not, because what are you interviewing for? Like, my thing is, if you're going to interview, you should have something to say and something that you want to talk about.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe he just wants to answer to now. If Dre is coming to talk to the YouTube streets, like, I'm not homosexual. I don't appreciate how you talk to me and my about me and my friend. I don't appreciate the judgments from the streets because all I've been is a friend, something of that nature. But the story isn't about Dre. The story's not about Sonia. The story's about Ernest Williams, who's sitting in jail for a year and a half, who's married to Shirley Strawberry. So I'm just interested to know, what is the interview about? Like, is he coming to clear his name as a friend and that people have dragged him and didn't know him? Like, is he coming on some my feelings are hurt because the YouTube streets, I felt, dragged me initially? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, can we help you? Because it's gonna end up like Sonia. Like, Sonia's not happy with the YouTube streets, but Sonia keeps coming. You see what I'm saying? I think it's a good idea for Dre to have a very specific scope that he wants to talk about, and or just keep it living in the computer. I wouldn't, me personally, I still don't understand what he's supposed to say. If it like why he wants to entertain an interview. What is it that you're coming to tell us? Tamara, you're on mute. I don't know why your phone keeps going on mute. Dre needs to read the charges and understand before he comes to the YouTube streets. I would hope he knows what his friend is charged with. Absolutely. Dre go mess around and mess up his Dre needs to I think Dre seems like a very good friend And as a good friend, unless Nesto asks you to deliver a very specific message or he wants to, because um, Nesto said something on that thing where it was like a text message. And I guess maybe Sonia was telling him that she was going over to Sylvia's channel and said that she's the least messy and she's a Christian lady and this, that, and the third, and that's fine. But it's like, why not, like, what does he want Dre to deliver? Like, what is, and based on the recent conversations, knowing how Sonya really feels and maybe now how phony Sonya is, that's what I would also like to know. How did you feel when you found out that Nesta was talking shit about you behind your back to Sonya, and then also finding out Sonya's reaction when you weren't just dipping right into your bank account to give Nesto money? Like how quickly she could turn on you as a friend because you're Team Shirley. So those are some questions that I would want to know. Okay. So yes, con men and women master the art of code switching. Absolutely. I think she's at work. Oh, Tamara's at work. Okay. He gives me sociopath. Wow. They are usually sexual deviants and not law-abiding citizens. Um, Glorious, where did you hear that? Glorious. It was said that Dre was mad about the last Nesto call. Yes. Sylvia mentioned that. Yeah. Sylvia talked about that on her. Maybe it was late last night. That he was not happy about the last calls. And Dre seems, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's pissed. But it's like, what are you coming to tell us? You know what I'm saying? Um, that's what I would like to know. What is the interview? Like, what do you hope to gain from you coming out on the YouTube streets? Because Sonya was on one of the biggest platforms on YouTube and she said nothing about nothing. And then she goes on Sylvia's and she has the charges, she has the warrants, and she's still unable to effectively. What's the message? Like, it's still, the GoFundMe is still at $106. She never even asked people, hey, if you support me, if you find this story compelling, if you feel like it's free Nesto all day, then I need for you to go to blah, blah, da, 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 and handle that business. Okay. Nothing. Nothing. Ma'am doesn't have, she has no PR. She has nobody with some sense even helping her or talking to her about sticking to the point and making some sense. But I don't want to give out too much help. I don't even believe Dre told Sonya that. I believe she was repeating was Nesto said when Dre said he needed to interview me. Wait, let me read that again. I don't even believe Dre told Sonya that. I believe she was repeating. What she was repeating was Nesto said when Dre said they needed to interview me. We have a new member, guys. I'm a whole vibe. I'm a whole vibe. Yes, you are. Thank you so much. Thank you for making it official. Um, all right, lots of comments here. Guys, can you let me get back into this call queue? These question queue. Despite the fact that we are biased to Nesto's personality and patterns, do you think Fulton or Cobb are properly handling the case considering the fact that he hasn't yet been indicted? Wow, Ashanti going deep. Whoo, Jesus, let me think. And I'm really thinking about that. Anybody call in? I literally have 10 minutes. Despite the fact that we are biased to Nesto's personality and patterns, do you think Fulton County and Cobb are properly handling the case? So Cobb, all they have to do is handle housing. So as long as he's comfortable, he's good. So Cobb, yes, they're handling things just fine. They're handling his housing. Fulton County properly handling his case, considering maybe his mental capacity, considering the fact that he hasn't yet been indicted. So he might not be getting full services. I'm not sure. It's I think it's going to matter, has he disclosed his issues? I think for them to adequately treat him or take into like a 360 of who he is and what he has going on, he would need to be able to communicate that effectively to the powers that be. And we do know that he's been running back and forth to the doctor's office or the nurse's office. Thank you so much. I'm a whole vibe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Um, I think Fulton County is probably doing the best they can in terms of servicing his case, but as Fanny mentioned or Fani mentioned, um, there is an extreme backlog. Also, he hasn't talked about mental fitness, but Fani did talk about prisoners who are undergoing psychological evaluation to see if they meet the threshold to advance in the process. And some people just have not. I don't know that he's one of those people who is on that psych list of being evaluated to where they can or can't move on. I don't think that that's him. I think he's fine as far as mental fitness to be able to understand and help in his process. Um, I forget what it's called. I feel like Emily D. Baker talked about this. I could have been Pam, but the the threshold of him being able to assist in his defense. Hi, Unita. Hello. Can you hear me? Unita, are you there? Unita? I put up a cover. You can click on your start cam and it'll turn your camera off if you want to just have your avatar. Just hit on start. Look at the bottom of if you're on your phone, look to the bottom of the phone and it's going to say mute on your left and then start cam. If you click on start cam, it'll put your avatar up. And I can hear. Okay. Okay, we lost Unita. Okay, let me ask another question. Nestos, do you think Sonia has received her payout settlement from the hospital? Remember, she was discussing on the bankruptcy call that she was going to have a lawsuit. I think that was a lie. I think that she was thinking about having a lawsuit. I don't think that there's a successful lawsuit that has been won yet. Who said something about competency to stand trial requires that the defendant understand the nature of the charges against him and is able to assist in their defense? Absolutely. Emily D. Baker talked about that recently. Thank you for bubbling that up, Eve. Yes. Emily D. Baker talked about that in relation to something else recently. I think it was her. It could have been her or Pam. But I want to say it was Emily D. Baker. Because maybe she was talking about Tom Girardi. Tom Girardi from Real Housewives. He's one of the Real Housewives' husbands, and he's suffering from dementia. But thank you for bubbling that up. I don't know if Nesto is beneath that threshold or not. Okay, Unita, you're going to end up closing things out for us. How are you? Unita, can you hear me? Oh, Panthers t-shirt. Unita might be in cat country, okay, or just like the Panthers. Okay.
I
Unita, can you hear
am.
me? Hey, are you in cat country?
Yeah, I'm in Charlotte.
Oh, okay. Well, nice to meet you.
I'm in your bougie gang.
You're in my bougie gang. Yes, 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 yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So you're going to end up closing things out for us. What did you want to comment today?
Oh, just being nosy. I clicked
This-
on the link and I don't know what.
Okay,
I
well then
don't,
help me answer a couple. We have a couple more questions to get through everything. Um, Let me see. Maybe you can answer this question for you. Do you think Sonia received? Okay, so someone asked, did Sonia get her payout? I don't think she's been in litigation at all for the hospital. Nesto's friend and family need to listen to that video from a victim that Nesto is right. Are they talking about what we just talked about? Veronica, are you talking about the young lady who did her story time yesterday? Yes, I'm Hazel. Maybe that's what she's talking about. Nesto's friends and family need to listen to the video from the victim Nyla just played on. Oh, that she's probably talking about I am Hazel. We've already talked about that. We talked about that first thing this morning. So um sounds like Dion was there for that. What did you were you listening to the to Love Lies and Lace Fronts this morning? Did you hear I Am Hazel's story time, or did you see it yesterday on the YouTube streets?
I just watched it.
Okay. Did you know who I Am Hazel was? You watch my other channel, so you know she's
No,
Lily's. Okay, so Keisha Kaylee, her baby father's son's mom, that's her best friend. So Lily's best friend, that's I Am Hazel. So if you watch my other channel, one of the mommies that shows up there, her baby father um has a son named August, and that's his godmother, basically. So there's a YouTube Streets connection there.
oh, okay. Didn't know that.
So what did you think about her story? Was it giving Nesto vibes the whole time?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I could totally when she mentioned the Hummer and him letting down the seats and then we're finna F, I was like, "Oh, that sounds exactly like something he would do." And I don't
The
even know
whole
him.
thing, the whole thing sounded like Ernie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Sonya going to jail too.
You think so? Why? Why is she going to jail?
Because before he went to jail, she was doing some kind of business with him.
You think she had something to do with the RVs?
Yep, I think she was trying to be the house mom
Okay, so you think she was okay, she was
for
supplying
God.
his feed of females.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, Sonia, in the bushes, the streets are talking. They think that you have been den mother and supplier of females for Nesto's business. Interesting. Okay. Um,
She
and what
always talking about strippers.
she's always talking about strippers and
And working strip club and all that foolery.
okay. Do you think Sonia, like, if Nesto got out of jail tomorrow, let's just say they let him out the county, he'd have to go to court on this day or that day. Is Sonia going to get him to the courthouse on time? You think he's going to have more failure to appears if he's over there staying at Sonia's house? Yeah, what do you think about that? Is he going to be able to do what he needs to do to successfully make it through trial? Staying over to
No,
Sonia's house? Yeah, it's gonna be a
no,
disaster. Okay. Yeah.
no,
Ah,
no. Because because in my opinion, she is just as dirty as him. She will
wow.
do whatever he say do.
Mm,
I'm trying to figure out why he want to get out so bad. Get out and do what?
right. It's not like he's going to go get a job.
Well, he ain't gonna be no Walmart door greeter, so I mean, he gonna go back to scamming. He need that lawyer money. He gonna
Right.
use Sonya and gonna tag Sonya in it, and she can be dumb
Mm-mm-mm.
enough to do it.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, back to scamming. Um, and they told him no internet. How can he live at Sonia's house and no internet? How can he live at Sonia's house and she's babysitting? So she wouldn't be able to do her babysitting job. She stays on the internet. Um, all of the I mean, there's definitely things that he's got to stay away from children. Um, he's not going like he can't bond out to her house. I don't think it would be wise. He's probably gonna he's going to end up getting picked up again.
I wonder why he can't bond out to Dion's house.
I don't know. Is Dion also a felon? I think, does Dion have a felony conviction? Even though that's his son, he might not be able to be around other known felons right now.
What about Lamont? No,
I
his
think
his
Lamont's
gay
a felon too.
his gay son. We don't know
Oh,
his name.
I don't know. He might not. He seems like he only messes with Dion. Like that's his one son. So yeah, Sonya's a felon too. I wasn't sure what her if she was a misdemeanor or not, but she was a felon also. Yeah, so it's a whole fel so
It's the
with her
same,
go ahead.
but they have the same crimes in common, fraud.
Mm, yes. Mm-hmm. Birds of a
So why
feather.
you trying to get out? To be homeless?
What
I
you
just don't understand getting out. Get out to go do what?
right. What's your rush? You really don't have any business out here. It's better to just sit and wait and clear your name. So I
And
hear
then
you on that. Yeah,
you
I hear
got a
you on that.
pot and 3 meals and you warm. Where you going? Cause you ain't going to Shirley's. But then again, he may go over there and bully Shirley.
Shirley better not open her door. Shirley better not open her door, or else Bougie Gang is going to be writing her a strawberry letter every single day. Like, girl, if you don't stop it, okay.
Mhm.
All right, let me ask you a couple questions. Let's get through these questions because I got to get back on mom duty in a minute. Is it possible for you to purchase Shirley's book and read it to us, y'all? Brown Sugar just asked, "Can I read the strawberry? You guys want me to read the strawberry letter book?"
No, cause, cause in my opinion, she's not a star. I used to listen to Steve Harvey, like going to work and stuff. And to me, Shirley gave some of the craziest answers. I'd be like, what is she talking about? But see, Steve got to come behind her and clean it up.
Right. He always makes it make sense. He comes in like, okay, Shirley, I saw it different. Da, 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 da. Yeah. And he
Right.
actually, when
Her
Tommy
answers
used to
were
call him
so
code cracker,
stupid.
yeah, she gives the worst advice. And then Tommy would be like, okay, code cracker coming up next, because he would really read into the letter. That was the one thing I liked about the strawberry letter, because I used to listen to it all the time. And I did like that Steve, like it was kind of like, okay,
Mm,
here's the lame answer, but here's actually the real answer. Steve would come in
right.
with the real information. Um, let me see. Nestos. Oh, she just deleted her question. Hold on. Do you think Erica will cut a deal or become a witness for the prosecution? From Patrice. Hmm.
But
Do
she
you
got
think
health
Erica
problems.
She has health problems. She's on a UJR. She may have already committed to helping. She might already be singing. We don't know, but she might already be singing. So, to answer your question, Patrice, I'm going to say yes. Yeah. Let's say yes.
Erica may be Miss Jones.
No, because she
No,
was the queen of the
Dominique is Miss Jones.
Dominique. I think Dominique is Miss Jones. Absolutely. Let me see. Is doing just as guilty as his daddy in all of is Dion, excuse me. Is Dion just as guilty as his daddy in
No,
all of this mess? No, I don't think so.
no. I
Why
think
did
this girl was
Dre
doing more than what Dion knew about.
Okay, so here's another question. Why did Dre go to prison? See, that's the kind of questions. If Dre doesn't want to talk about his background, he better stay up off these YouTube streets. I'm just saying. He doesn't have to take my advice, and I'm certainly not a hater, but I'm just saying, if he is mad about Nesto and Sonya talking about him, he gonna be real mad when people figure out what his name is or something like that. I don't know what people know about him, and I haven't done 2 seconds of research other than seeing him on Nesto's Instagram. Me personally, unless you got something very specific to talk about, you're not a celebrity. just continue to support your friend. And I that might be an unpopular opinion because people like Dre, but unless he's got something very specific to talk about, he, it can go left. That's all I'm saying.
No,
And we all,
I want y'all to leave Dre alone. Dre did his time. He got himself together. He moving on.
I don't think anyone's bothering Dre. I just think if he shows up to the YouTube streets and he starts running his mouth, someone is going to, I'm just saying that's just how it goes. I've like Sonia came to the YouTube streets and now she's a basket case. You know what I mean? She had no business on here. She was already messed up enough. And now she thinks she can control people to stop discussing her. But I think Dre would just bring himself some unwanted attention. Unless he's coming to speak on Nesto's behalf and sticks with some talking points, I just wouldn't suggest it because the more of his story he tells, the more there's someone out there who's going to start digging. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Dre knows some stuff now, but he wasn't a part of it.
He might not know much because I mean, it seemed like he thinks Nesto was on the straight and narrow. He seems to
Not
be
no
kind of
more.
like, "What were you doing? Like, I thought you were good. Like, why are they holding on to you if you hadn't done anything?" The date for court is 2/25. Is it for a specific case? When I looked up the cases, it was attached to almost everything. So I don't know if they're revisiting all of the bonds or not. But I'll double check and I'll get back to you guys on that because I was looking at it last night and I feel like almost everything was on the docket for 2/5.
And I will be nosing over there too.
Yeah, I'll be broadcasting it live too. I just have to file my Rule 22. Did Dre know what was going on in the barber shop? That's a question to run over to Sylvia's.
No,
Sylvia is going to have the interview and I would run that question over there. I don't know.
I don't think so. Dre about his business. He ain't got time to hang around no barbershop.
I mean, I mean, there's a picture of him in front of Nesto's. Now, did he know that they were that they were locking and popping in there? I don't know. I don't know what he knows about that. He may have just gotten a haircut. But
Oh,
as
Grand
far as
Oakland.
the shenanigans at the barber shop, I don't know. I'm going to
Yeah,
say the correct answer is no.
me too.
Unless he wants to be a witness, I would say no.
I like Dre. Dre funny as hell. He
Okay,
took
you
it
need
with him.
I'm gonna have to go because I gotta get on mom duty and handle that business. So I will be back. I do have a call set up for you guys. These calls, these throwback calls are good, and I really don't think have been heard. There's one where, and maybe they have, I'm not sure, but I just, obviously there's a ton of calls. Um, you guys are gonna like these. So it's all ready. I was gonna run it today at 12 o'clock. You left too soon. I was gonna say goodbye, but thank you for calling in, sis. I appreciate you. But you guys, it'll be up let's say 4:30. As soon as I get back home, I'll set it up to go live and I'll see you guys in the chat room. And if you guys want me to come back and talk later, I will, but I'm going to take a break cuz I've been live we've been live here for 3 hours and I was live for an hour and a half before. Hi, Unita.
Hi. Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
hey girl, hey.
I'm over here clicking on buttons. I'm new to
Okay.
this.
That's okay. That's okay. But yes, sis, I'm gonna go and pick up Boo Boo from school. That's what when I say I'm going on mom duty, I don't like to tell everybody what I'm getting ready to do, but I guess I'll tell you guys now. I gotta handle that business, the mom business, but I'll be back. And Nakia in the chat is saying she loves the throwbacks. So you guys come back for the throwback, okay? I'll have it up around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I'll see you guys in the chat then, okay?
All righty.
Okay,
You know I'll be
Unita.
watching.
Absolutely. Don't be a stranger, okay, sis?
I want
Okay. All right. You take care now. Thank you for calling in.
and be on time.
I'm gonna try my best. They keep me busy around here. They keep me busy around here. I'm gonna try. Oh, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? But let me say this. So if I set it up for 4:30, it's going to start at 4:30 because I've already recorded everything. It's set and ready to go. So I will to answer to regarding your statement, I will. Okay, I'm going to set it up for the time and it will start on time. Now, tomorrow
No,
I can't tell you, but I've been
yeah, I'll
on
be
that type
looking
of
for
time
you.
lately.
I'll be
It will
looking for you. You know I'm gonna be there.
it will be on time today. As soon as I set it up, that's the time it's going to absolutely start.
All right, I believe you.
Okay. All right. Take care, sis. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay. Have a good evening. All right. Bye bye. Okay, guys, this was fun. We've been online all day. Guys, if you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button for me. I know we have 324 and we have 379, but we had over 500 in the chat today. So if you have not hit the like button, please do so. If you are not subscribed here, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go ahead, subscribe. Did Dre know about what was going on in the barbershop? We're going to just say, I'm going to say, I don't think to the extent of I don't think I don't think he knew like that. I'm gonna say it like that. Okay. I don't think he knew about any criminal activity. Dre seems to be on the straight and narrow, and I think Dre seems to be living his life. And I think he seems to be moving forward in life because even when he said he got in trouble some years back, and it didn't have anything to do with him, he got out of it very quickly because one, he had the funds to get an attorney and he got himself cleared very quickly. And that's what I think he was holding Nesto up to that benchmark of like, if there's nothing really going on, why are you still there? And I think Nesto doesn't appreciate those type of comments because he feels like that makes him feel like his friend thinks he's guilty, but he's just asking him a question. It just doesn't make sense for Dre. It also have a disastrous interview. Also, it just doesn't make sense for Dre to also have a disastrous interview. Um, well, they have to come with their talking points. I think Sylvia asked the questions that the audience gave her. We threw up questions. I think Sonia is a disaster. So Sonia had a disaster interview. I think she had a disastrous interview on Tasha K. I think Dre is emotional and he could feel some type of way. If he feels some type of way about something of the comments from the comment section, when that comment section comes and he's being asked very direct questions or questions about his business, he might not like that. But I'm just out here, just a witness out here on the YouTube streets, and judging from his very oversensitive personality, he might want to just continue to support his friend. Like I said, get on your regular little $50, 70. Now I've lowered it to $50. Send him his little commissary and his phone money and just be done. Check him when he gets out. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Coming to do interviews for what? I'm just saying. But if he feels like he has something to say, I will be in the audience. I definitely think I enjoy a good interview. I'm just wondering what's he coming to tell us. That's all. Um Hey Rhonda, hey boo boo. All right, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. I gotta go get in the car pickup line, so I will see you guys a little bit later. Thank you to a new member. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you to, and that's Glorious and a lady. I think someone also sent me a cash app. Um, thank you so much. Let me see. Thank you, Mocha. I appreciate that, sis. I thank you very much. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome, and thank you for all that you do, and all of you guys who sat here all morning long. But this was fun. So I'll drop the call a little bit later, and I'm going to be on break mode, okay? And homework and all of the things with Farah, and doing a after school mom daughter check in. So you guys take care. Thank you. I will. And when I get as soon as I get back home, I'll give you guys like about 30, 45 minutes, and you guys can have something to do or listen to on your drives home. Or if you're on the West Coast, something to listen to for after lunch. Okay. And then we'll talk about it later. All right, guys, you take care. Have a wonderful day. And I'll see you out here on these YouTube streets. Okay. Bye, guys.